All right, welcome in, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. Happy Tuesday to you. Let's get our heads right on said Tuesday, February 11th, 2025. February. Right? February.
Is the R silent or is it not silent?
It's not February. I know that. February. Is that right?
It doesn't sound right when you say it.
You say it.
February.
Not
that
bad.
doesn't sound right.
Paulie?
February?
February.
February.
The accent's on the wrong. February. Happy February. You can't say it. Nobody knows, all right? Nobody knows how to say this month, but we do love this month.
February.
Because
Yeah.
it's very short. Very, very short. I'm Woodsy.
February.
What is it?
February.
I thought
February.
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 The phonetic is fe, brew,
February. February. It's very difficult to say, but I'm sure driving all of you insane right now with us trying to say it
February.
as well. But let's get our...
Pre-March.
Yeah, pre-March. Month before March. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer of the program. Good morning, Paulie.
Hey, how are you?
Doing great. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm all right. You know, got dragged by Dodgers fans yesterday.
It's fun.
Relentlessly.
Yeah,
That's
it's
my
fun.
fault. It's my fault.
Well, you can't rage bait Dodger fans
I know,
and then expect them to
I
be
know.
like, you're right.
I was really just mad just on my own, and then
Sour
I
grapes.
opened myself up to it.
I get it.
it's
I get
fine.
it.
We'll talk about it later.
It doesn't even bother me anymore. I actually have fun with them. I do. I have fun with them. I mean, they're in the catbird seat.
Ooh,
So
Dodgers fans spell February.
oh, there's no chance. Zero chance.
I don't know.
without
They
looking.
might get it because they do put in random letters that don't look like they belong in other words.
That's true.
So.
Chalker, looser. Speaking of looser,
February.
I ran it by the fellas this morning, and I shared this with you yesterday, and I said to you, I was driving in this morning, and I said, I'll share it if you think it's interesting. And Benny said, I do. I think it's interesting. And you said you even brought it up you brought it up at work.
Unsolicited in a conversation.
Yeah,
yesterday.
so
Yeah.
listen, we've talked many, many times on this program about things that you get, in your DMs and whatnot. Some of them nice, some of them remarkably kind, some of them mean, some of them inspiring, some of them letting you know and letting me know how much this show has helped them, et cetera, et cetera. But there is a bit of a familiarity with one of us on this program, I think, and it's me. I'm pretty open, pretty honest about anything I'm going through. Not everything, certainly. Some things are held close to the vest, but many of these things are out there. But I do share a lot of my life as well. Well, this one didn't come on the show account or anything like this. One came to my personal Instagram yesterday, and you can imagine my surprise during the show. By the way, I opened up my Instagram DMs, and I got a message from a guy who follows me. I don't follow him back. Here's what it said. You want to do a campfire? Is there something you want to do? Some sort of song behind it? I don't know. Here we go. Ready? Bro, I love you. And I don't
start.
Yeah.
Good start.
Bro, I love you. I don't know how to say this.
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
But you're spoiling your kids. They may be having the time of their life now, but when they're 15 and S gets real, or even worse, when they're 22 and on their own, they're not going to know how to deal with any emotions or setbacks at all. Please talk to them about regulating emotions and what to do when things get tough. I hope they're both engineers or doctors or lawyers, but when they're 30, working at Pizza Port, and they think their life is worthless because they can barely afford groceries, car payment, and rent, they're going to want to end themselves.
Oh, my God.
Luxury experiences and everything they want won't be possible then. If they have a decade, they can't afford vacations, let alone contact lenses for the year, and they can't reach out to you because they feel like a failure, they will think of these birthday parties and think they peaked at age 7. Take them volunteering to a homeless shelter. Take them to the border, etc. That's it. That's for that. So a couple things to mull over here.
Interesting.
So I said it's my wife yesterday. And Hannah goes, yeah, I don't think I'm going to take my kids to a homeless shelter or the border for any of their birthdays. So let's just stop there. Happy birthday, guys. We're heading to the border. All right? So number one. She goes, couldn't be me. Will not be taking my kids to the border or a homeless shelter for their birthday. It spun her out, too, yesterday. It struck a chord. And I asked her last night, I go, why'd that bother you so much? And she said, because it did strike a chord. And I think if you're a parent, every single parent sits back in the dead of night and goes, am I giving these little turds too much? Am I making it too easy on them? No, I'm not. Yes, I am. It's a constant struggle. It never ends. And so when somebody who's a stranger, by the way, I don't know this cat, never met him, when somebody hits you like that over the head, yes, when you're already in the space of being insecure and unsure, and somebody hits you over the head with that, but, you know, and then I read it again and again, and I'm like, this doesn't sound like my kid's experience. This sounds like your experience. This sounds like you were working at Pizza Port. This sounds like you can't afford contact lenses. Like, I was talking to Ben and Paul about it yesterday. I said, you know, based on where my kids grow up, based on where my kids, you know, where we fall financially and things like that, they don't want for much, certainly. We give them a lot. I don't make them earn everything they get, well, because they're 7 and they're 4. But I am already starting the, hey, bro, it's garbage day. Hey, man, clean up. You know, I'm not just they're not like Kim Kardashian's kids.
Was Bo supposed to, like, earn a salary and pay for his birthday party himself? Like, at 7 years old?
He was supposed to go to the border for his birthday. That's where he wanted to go. So I have a good work ethic. I always have. As big of a slob load as I've been in my life, I've always had a good work ethic. You guys know you can count on me every day. Dependable, loyal, I will be here, right? Like, you guys know. Every job I've ever had, I've been successful at. Never been fired from a job in my life. I'm 49 years old. Never once been canned. And so I'm sitting there going, well, yeah, these are the values I'll pass on to my children when they're ready. Not now, but we're already working towards that goal. And you guys know me. I asked you this yesterday. I said, am I the kind of dad that's going to take plays off and let my kids, like, run roughshod? The answer is unquestionably no. I will go probably the other way. Oh, did you get B's and C's on your report card? Guess what you're doing? You're going to go work with Uncle Foster down at Encinitas Ranch scrubbing golf carts with your bare hands. Like, we're not doing this. I've threatened to take my kids to military school so many times to make your head spin. So it's not like, again, we're the Kardashians and my kids are ordering us around. I mean, they get to do some cool stuff. There is no doubt about it. Partly because of my job, partly because of other circumstances and situations. But, like, they get to do some cool stuff. But, bro, they were sitting in a hot tub. They weren't in Dubai, like base jumping in Dubai. Like, they're sitting in a hot tub, having a great time, because they're 7. So I didn't write back, but I was just thinking about it yesterday. I go, man, the what must go through someone's mind? And then I started thinking, all right, maybe he thinks, like I'm his old pal Woodsy, right? Like that's where I always get these, like, oh, that's Woodsy. I know him. I can say this to him. No. Who's your favorite radio personality of all time, Ben? When you were younger,
my favorite radio personality.
Yeah, when you were growing up or when you were in your mid-20s.
Well, I don't know. We had him in studio not that long ago. Dave Rickards. Yeah, pretty good.
Could you fathom writing Dave Rickards a DM telling him, hey, man, you're essing the bed there on your kids, how you're raising your kids? It's weird. Also, so I went and looked. I don't follow him, but Ben and Woods does. So I went and looked. He's got no kids. So that's strike 1, 2, and 3. If you have no children, I'm sorry. Your expert analysis, it's not going to carry a lot of weight.
I can't even wrap my head around giving somebody, by the way, a stranger.
Yeah, stranger.
By the way, unsolicited.
Correct.
Advice on parenting when I don't have children. Like I can't personally wrap my head around that.
It reminded me of
I also wouldn't give anybody unsolicited advice on how to take care of an alligator. You know why?
I don't have any alligators.
I don't have an alligator. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it's weird. My kids are not like Ricky Bobby's kids. I threw Grandpa Chip's war medals.
Anarchy!
Yeah,
Anarchy!
I threw Grandpa Chip's war medals off the bridge. Like, they're not that.
I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew.
Are they perfect children? They're not, man. But here's the deal. If they are spoiled, do you know who gets to tell them they're spoiled? Right here. I'm the only one. I'm it. And my wife, we are the only ones who can say, you spoiled little turds. I told him that on Sunday.
I think that the crux of the message was, if you get too much too young, you're not going to appreciate things. But I don't necessarily, in fact, I don't believe that's true. As long as you always teach gratitude and appreciation for whatever you get, I think that's the most important lesson. You don't have to just eat bread crusts and, go to homeless shelters to appreciate what you have in life. You can appreciate what you have in life without also, being subjected to constant reminders of it. And I think that, to me, is the most important thing. Do your kids understand, hey, it's very lucky that we get to do this? And as long as they do, I think that's important. And if you foster empathy in your kids to go, hey, and whatever you can do to help other people and other kids get to have good experiences and give back in your life, that's a great thing as well.
Yeah, and if anybody knows me, giving back is something that's very important. So he got $200 for his birthday, and he donated $100. So it's pretty cool. Like my son Bo, when he turned 7 the other day, his grandmother gave him $200, $100 for him to put in his bank account, and the other $100 was to be donated, and he donated to the animal shelter. So, again, he's not Richie Rich over here, and I don't know. It just kind of struck a chord.
Richie Rich was a good kid too.
Was he a good kid?
Yeah, he was a good kid.
He wasn't an a-hole with his money, shared his money and everything.
He was good.
I don't remember much about Richie Rich.
No, I think he was pretty well balanced, if I remember correctly.
For being,
yeah, it was well off.
A rich kid.
Ricky Stratton.
Is that it? Is that who it was?
No, remember
Ricky Schroeder.
Yeah, well, he was the actor.
But it was Ricky
Stratton. Yeah,
was
Edward Stratton III was his dad.
What did his dad do? I remember he had video games and stuff.
Yeah, he had all kinds. Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah. Silver Spoons.
Silver Spoons. Yeah, brilliant. That's different. Richie Rich and Silver Spoons is different.
Totally different shows.
Totally different things. Yeah. All right. It was just weird.
It is weird to get an unsolicited email like that.
And listen, I got I had one over the weekend talking about this business too, and I kind of snapped back at this guy and was like, well, why wouldn't I listen to your expertise with 0 years of experience in entertainment or radio? Fire away. Right? Like, please give me feedback on how I interview as someone with 0 interviews and 0 years of entertaining people. I got 15 years under my belt. What do you got? Let's hear it. What would you do differently? And that's not being averse to constructive criticism. Why would you take criticism from somebody that doesn't know what they're doing and has never done it? And I think that goes to radio and parenting and carpentry. If I walk on a job site today, we're like, what do you guys do? What are you doing there?
Oh, you're hanging that drywall wrong.
What are 2x4s? What are you guys, morons? Bro, I get the crap kicked out of me for good reason. For good reason. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting. It certainly spawns some discussion, when you're thinking about that. And like I said, man, it messed with Hannah pretty good yesterday.
I'm sad that she feels like that she can't be on social media.
Yeah, she got off totally. She's over it.
That she enjoys that part of her life.
She said something.
Sharing, what's going on.
Let's take a break. We'll come back and I can tell you the reason why. I'll tell you exactly why and what kind of happened with that in that regard.
I also want to reward our early risers. We're giving away Padres spring training tickets all week. Let's give some out when we come back as well. Got a 4-pack to win to a game in Peoria, Arizona, coming up this spring. Any game of your choice. That is coming up next. We'll set the menu as well. Get a check of traffic from Kelly, and then back with more Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. It's funny because you never know what segment's going to resonate with the audience when you are on for 4 hours every morning. Might be Woods talking about his kids one day. Might be, obviously, some in-depth Padres talk if you're a baseball fan. This weekend, ran into a couple when I was at the Regal Seagull. Could not stop talking about cricket and our cricket conversation from last week. Yeah, well, apparently they've been to a couple of matches. There's a team, San Diego team, that plays in kind of a minor league cricket league, and they said, you really should go check it out. I loved you guys talking about cricket last week.
Yeah.
And they were very passionite.
Yeah,
about cricket.
You don't know what's going to
just never know
what's going to hit, certainly. But these are the interesting conversations for me, just because I kind of lean on both of you guys and the audience as well, and not for not for reassurance or anything like that. I'm a pretty self-assured parent. I really care, and I really try, and as does my wife. I mean, nobody tries harder than we do. We read, we talk to people, we are all about it, trying to do the best job we can. And my wife spends hours perusing groups on Facebook to make sure, honestly, like, what is working, what isn't working. Like, we are very diligent parents. And yeah, you read something like that I got yesterday, and it really kind of spun my wife out so much that she said, "Just so you know, I'm off social media." And I said, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah." And she goes, I realized, we posted that to our Instagram. Our kids didn't deserve that. They didn't ask for that." And I said, "It's a good point that you make, right?" It was just, again, it was a shared picture from his grandmother of them, sitting in a hot tub having fun, as many kids do. Again, it's not a hot tub at the top of a skyscraper in Dubai. Like, they're just at their grandmother's house in a hot tub.
Infinity tub,
right? There's not, yeah, I mean, we're like popping bottles of Cristal. They're 7, they're just 7-year-olds having fun.
Now, I assume you did not share this with your kids.
What?
The message you received.
No.
You said they didn't ask for it, but they shouldn't be aware of it, and they should continue in blissful ignorance of some of those things that are out there, because that's being a good parent.
Yeah, and I talked to my wife about it last night. I go, should I not mention them anymore? She goes, no, on the air is different. It's different. You're talking about your life. And that resonates with other parents, certainly. And she said, but for me, I don't need it. I don't need it. She said, we have somebody that handles our social media at work. She goes, it's eaten up all my time. We were actually going to start doing a podcast together again and talk about some of the trials and tribulations. And she wrote me yesterday, and she goes, I'm not doing it. And I said, I agree. I said, I absolutely agree. And if we ever do it, it's going to be like $50 a month. That way you weed out anybody that's an a-hole. If somebody really wants to hear your content, they'll pay for it, And so it hit her pretty good, and she got rid of. She's still on there. She just took them off her phone. She's like, I'm just not looking. I'm just not going to look and get bogged down in it. And it's like I told you guys this morning. My Instagram is for my kids. My Instagram. If you go to my Instagram and look at it, it's all kids and memories. I mean, rarely is there even something about me or us, even the show. I don't use it as like a, here I am in the gym again. You know what I mean? Like, here's me calling a game. No, it's 95%. Look at this. Here's some words about this cool thing we did or this memory we had, so that when I'm dead and gone, they'll have that as like a journal. I can't journal. I've tried it over and over. I've got stopped and start journals on my computer. I'll go a week, and I'm like, I'm over it. Something about it. You're able to post a pic. Here's the memory that we went, skiing, or we went to Joshua Tree or whatever. Like, this was a great day. That's there for them 30 years from now to always have.
See, now I've been told, journaling's a great thing.
Yes,
as
if
well.
You can do it.
But if you start and it feels like a chore and you're not getting anything out of it, don't keep doing it.
Correct, man.
Obviously, It's not a great thing for you if you're finding it very difficult. Now, hey, if you start and you go, oh, this is great. I love
keep firing.
Having, the time to set down my thoughts, and it's just a great, few minutes of my day, then great. It's good for you. But if you're sitting there and it feels like work, then don't do it anymore.
Big starter and stopper of things, for sure.
Don't even start if you know that it's not for you.
Yeah, I mean, I tried
don't even start.
I had to try it, tried it, and I was like, I can't do this, man. I cannot do this. So anyway, that's where we're at right now. But yeah, little bit of an odd scene yesterday, and we had a good convo about it, and it makes sense in my head why she's decided to bail for a while and maybe forever, and whatever protects your mental health, you have to do it. So, but yeah, don't expect the Hannah and Woods podcast anytime soon. That's off the table.
All right. On a different note, happy trails to our Sam Levitt, who will be heading out to spring training today, and will have daily coverage for us beginning tomorrow here on 97.3 The Fan. Padres will have their first workout.
It's about time.
First media opportunities. Well, I'm sure we'll hear from Mike Schilt and others as the Padres get underway in Peoria, Arizona. We will be heading out 2 weeks from today after the show for 3 shows in Peoria, Arizona as well. You can join us and Sam Levitt and other Padres fans out in Arizona by winning a 4-pack of tickets right now to a Padres spring training game at the Peoria Sports Complex. Our winner also qualifies for the grand prize for tickets to the Padres Guardians game at Petco Park on April 2nd. You can get your spring training tickets now at PeoriaBaseball.com or be the fourth caller at 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We will, of course, talk some Padres baseball coming up, and I'll explain why I was relentlessly getting dragged by Dodgers fans. Even though I'm not giving up my social media feeds because of it.
Right, we are so dumb to
They were mean.
We're so dumb to not get paid for Twitter.
They were mean, yeah.
We're so dumb. Like, I could have retired after last year's playoffs. Like, I could have retired with the engagement that we got. I mean, we're just dumb. It's just not good business, man. We should be getting paid by Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and everything else. I think we do get paid by YouTube, but, you threw out some rage bait. I saw it.
It wasn't my intention, but yeah, that's how it played out for sure.
Let's work through it.
We'll work through it.
Yeah.
We had breaking news right after our show yesterday in the golf world. Tiger Woods
we were just
does
talking
the
about
180.
it.
Not going to be in the Genesis Invitational this weekend. We can talk about the golf tournament coming up this week. Don't do this at 7:20. 7:45, want to talk about last night's basketball game. Luka Doncic making his debut for the L.A. Lakers. I know a lot of people were following that. And then in our 8 o'clock hour, we got a special guest joining us right after Take on Woods as the college baseball season gets underway. Our friend Brock Ungricht, the head coach of the USD baseball team. They got a pretty good team this year. They were picked first in the West Coast Conference. They've got a preseason second-team All-American, some really good MLB prospects on the Toreros this year. We'll get caught up on Brock Ungricht's season coming up in college baseball as well. 9 o'clock hour, we've got our Reindl Report and our biggest fan contest as well. So that's a little quick setting of the menu for the program today. But when we come back, what did Ben do that really stirred up the rage in the Dodgers fan base yesterday? And we talk a little bit about the bullpen situation for the Padres as well. That is coming up. First, though, let me tell you about Prize Picks. Had a win last night. Speaking of basketball, I parlayed Luka Doncic's opening game with his team into a win last night with Prize Picks. I just picked more or less on between 2 and 6 player projections. It was that easy, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money setting daily fantasy lineups. There are over 10 million members on Prize Picks, and billions of dollars have been awarded already. It's just fun. It's daily fantasy. It's really easy. And when you sign up, make sure you use the code KWFN. You're going to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup just by using the code KWFN. Get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. This week, All-Star Weekend, you can set lineups on the Saturday night festivities like the three-point contest, slam dunk, during the game. Obviously, lots of points being scored, so you get some big numbers there on the more or less to pick in basketball. Or you got college hoops all week long. There are lots of different options, even though football season is over. And yes, baseball season's coming up soon as well, and there will be all kinds of Prize Picks opportunities for the start of baseball season coming up. So check them out today. Head to their website. It's a lot of fun. It's very quick. It's very easy. I've already pulled some money out of my account. That's quick and easy as well. It's Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. Saw yesterday that Dave Roberts named Tanner Scott as his new closer, at least to start the season. Going to get the bulk of the save opportunities.
Smart move, I think.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, they have other good options as well. Michael Kopech, Kirby Yates, Blake Trinan. I mean, no shortage of opportunities, but, well, I don't know. I mean, you figure they're going to have a lot of leads late in games.
How will many saves?
Will they be of 3 runs or less in the ninth inning?
We were talking about it yesterday off the air, and I said, it's going to be really interesting to see how Vegas plays the Dodgers this year, right? Like, we've never really seen a juggernaut type team like this. As far as, I mean, can you even make any money on the Dodgers? You know what I'm saying? Like, betting them to win every night is going to, if they do lose, it's going to cost you like $600. It's going to be like minus 570. Or,
I mean, it's baseball, so will it get that high or will it not?
I don't know.
I think there's going to be a trial and error process, even for the books.
Like, they'll still have the standard 1.5 run line.
Yeah, I mean, is that what it's going to be? I mean, can they make it like Dodgers are favored by 6.5 runs tonight in a game? I mean,
like
who would bet? Who would bet that?
I know.
5.5. I'm teasing it down to 2.5 tonight against the Rockies. I mean, that's a very interesting sub feature of this season that's coming up.
You know, and the one thing we do know about baseball is that games, yes, they will have plenty of close games. The bats go cold. Doesn't matter who's in the lineup, man. It can happen. Bats go cold. The arms get worn out, and
face a good pitcher on any
really good pitcher
given night.
Yep,
you know,
100%.
Certainly going to happen.
Oh, and by the way, you know, they will be getting every team's best, I do believe. Everybody's going to want to beat the Dodgers to put that skin up on the wall, because that's when you do what they've done this offseason, you do put the target on your back. They've had it for many years. They're completely used to having the target on their back. So, but yeah, you're going to get every team's best, and it's just going to be interesting to see how it plays out with the Vegas numbers, what they do.
So Dodgers have obviously a really good pen. I think the Padres also have a good bullpen. We talked yesterday about the rumors. Kevin Acee wrote about it over the weekend. Robert Suarez might be the most likely player now to be traded between now and the start of the season. And if that does
at least got to be, like, if you had to pick any of the guys that have been rumored, Dylan Cease, Michael King, Luis Arraez, like, he's the one that you're at least somewhat okay with losing?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think he's the
most
one
easily replaceable.
He's the one you can most stand to lose. I'm sorry. If Dylan Cease goes, there's 180 out the door you got to find. Like, it's done. He's been very consistent.
You already
in his
need
career.
innings help.
Yeah, you need innings help. So now it's really like a net 250. You know what I mean? Like, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I do understand the contract he's on. I do understand who his agent is, certainly. But I can get one more year at Dylan Cease. I'm doing it. But yeah, I think with Suarez, it's the one that's most palatable, and will get you something back.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it all depends on what the return is. Don't just give away Robert Suarez for nothing. But there's salary savings there that can you possibly invest in maybe a starting pitcher, which is something that is of a bigger need for the San Diego Padres right now. So I would not be surprised if he gets traded. If he does, though, how do you envision the back of the bullpen looking? Who is the closer in waiting for the San Diego Padres? Because I think there's definitely an argument to be made for a few different guys in that pen that could close games.
I think the obvious answer is Jeremiah Estrada. That's just the top of my head obvious answer. Knowing Mike Schilt a little bit as we do, I do get the sense that he would be okay and probably be fairly comfortable with a bit of a closer by committee for a while, because you have to
play the hot hand
a little bit. The hot hand was.
They all say that, and then the first guy gets the first save and locks it down, and all of a sudden they're the closer.
They're the hot hand.
Yeah.
But I think, look, you got guys in that bullpen that can get outs. There's a guy, obviously, that you think about prototype, and it's Sean Reynolds. You think about the prototypical, get this 6'9" horse in there that throws Ched, get him out there, Let him be the closer. Does he have the mental makeup to do it? We'll see.
I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up as the closer
eventually
by the end of the season. I don't think he'll start it as the closer. I actually think Jason Adam might start as the closer, given a little more experience. And I still like Estrada in the setup role. We talked about Adrian Morejon as well. I think as a lefty, he's too valuable for matchups, in the 7th or 8th inning. Thus, don't lock yourself into,
but
he's my closer and he has to be in the 9th inning. But those are 4 guys.
That's 4 guys that can get you 3 outs.
Yeah.
So I think would it surprise you if they, kind of mix and match based on matchups and things like that.
You know what?
It's also, you got to remember, the game is changing
so
in
much.
that it's not – I understand the last 3 outs are still the hardest ones to get, but – situations are changing where you'll see the closer come in the 8th, maybe the 7th.
Yep.
Wherever the 1, 2, and 3 guys are.
I love it, by the way. I always have. I love it.
That's the real save sometimes comes in the 8th inning.
But you
got to get Jason Adam in there and be like, hey, bro, the game's on the line. You're facing 2, 3, and 4 here.
Yeah, you got to keep this 1-run lead.
And then we'll let somebody else figure out 5, 6, and 7 in the 9th.
Problem is you still got to get those outs in the 9th. So you got to have a complement of guys that can get those, and it ain't for everybody.
And by the way, we haven't even mentioned the guy who I believe has the most 9th inning saves in his baseball career, and someone who Mike Schilt told us personally he's very high on going into his 2nd season in the big leagues.
Yuki?
And that is Yuki Matsui, who is, I think, probably more of an option than you think he is as a fan to be a back-end bullpen guy. Now, last year, was there, big ups and downs as he made the transition from Japan? Absolutely. A lot of guys do make a fairly big leap in that 2nd year, especially coming over from Japan. And if he does, and he actually started, as Mike Schilt pointed out, started making that leap in the second half of the season when his walk rate went down. Now, he wasn't in as many high-leverage situations, so we didn't necessarily notice it. But he actually pitched pretty well in the second half of that year, and he saved a lot of games in Japan. So he knows the pressure and the feeling of coming in the 9th inning, maybe not against big league hitters, but I doubt it's really that different from an emotional standpoint.
Pivot player.
Pivot player, yeah.
Yeah, Yuki Matsui, pivot pitcher, certainly, for this team. But no, look, that's the area of depth that we have is in the bullpen, and I am high on it. I expect great things from them. I know who their pitching coach is. I know who their bullpen coach is. Both of those guys I hold in the highest regard, and Ben Fritz and Ruben Niebla. Can't get, as far as the echelon of guys that I love in the game of baseball, those guys are right up to the top. Dudes I trust, and I like the talent down there. I like the talent down there a lot. We've been really, really fortunate. And here's the thing. There's depth there, Ben, beyond the guys that are going to make the 26. There's depth beyond. It's maybe the only area where you're like, no, he goes down, we can call somebody up and they'll be ready.
So this bullpen conversation actually plays into why I was getting dragged by Dodgers fans last night on social media. And I want to explain it and get into it, but first, quick check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring. Well, tow truck is still helping to clear a crash in the North County, northbound side of the 15 before Auto Parkway. Looks like middle lane still blocked for you there. On the Coronado Bridge, heading off the island about mid-span, we have reports of a stalled van blocking that right lane. What makes Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water different? They always bottle their Alpine Spring Water less than 1.5 miles from the spring source. And all their bottles are made with 50% recycled plastic from their own recycling plants. Crystal Geyser, bottled at the spring source. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Boyd, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So I came across this tweet as I was sitting at my desk yesterday at Channel 10 from the Dodgers Territory podcast, and it was a clip from their latest show, and they got to interview Andrew Friedman, president baseball operations for the LA Dodgers. And it says Andrew Friedman explains how the two-way player designation gives the Dodgers a roster building edge and played a key role in their pitch to Roki Sasaki. Here's a little bit of a clip from the Alana Rizzo hosted Dodgers Territory podcast.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
The two-way designation is incredibly helpful, with the 13 pitcher limit. The two-way designation allows us to not count Shohei as a pitcher, which in turn allows us to have flexibility with our starting rotation and still maintain an 8-man bullpen. And that was part of our pitch to Roki, and something that we believed very strongly was no team was better equipped to bring him along in the major leagues than we were because of Shohei. And we have given starters extra rest in the past, and we've been pretty aggressive doing it. It's hard. And there's a friction that comes with it, especially now with the 5 option limit in each season. There's friction that comes with it. You're sending guys down, you're clicking along those 5 options, you're disrupting things a lot. We had determined in the past that what we felt like was some advantage, or at least most cautious approach for player health, was that, and so therefore it was worth it, but it wasn't costless.
So that is Andrew Friedman basically saying that the Dodgers have what he believes, and these are his words, so I'm not taking them out of context. Dodgers have a pretty big advantage over the other teams because of a special rule that was created. And yes, it was created when Shohei Ohtani was still on the Angels, but created for Shohei Ohtani that allows him to not count as a pitcher on a roster. Most teams have 5 starters, 8 relievers. You can only have 13 pitchers on your roster. But the Dodgers essentially can have 14, whereas every other team in baseball can have 13. And it annoyed me because it's not, the Dodgers already have so many baked-in advantages over the rest of baseball.
TV, yeah.
Starting with, massive payroll, TV money, and everything that goes along with playing in L.A. in a giant market, that it frustrates me that they're now, and, the deferments that they use for their teams that clearly other teams are not either, capable or would not even be allowed to do by Major League Baseball. And they're not breaking any rules. They're not doing anything wrong. I'm not accusing Andrew Friedman of cheating or doing anything wrong.
No, he manipulated the system.
But
it's
he's
great.
driving through every loophole that other teams can't even use. And it frustrated me because I feel like the biggest problem right now in baseball is that the playing field is getting less and less level between the teams, specifically between the Dodgers and every other team. Yeah. And now he's just rubbing it in that even though the Padres offered more money to Roki Sasaki, the Dodgers could offer something the Padres couldn't. And that was, hey, we have an extra pitcher, so we don't have to be as aggressive with using you. Any other team, they're going to have to start you a little more often because they only have that 13-pitcher limit. Because we have Shohei and we get a 14th pitcher, we can actually even be more valuable to you than any other team. And there's no reason baseball has to keep in this rule. They decided that'd be a good thing to make the 2-way rule for Shohei Ohtani. He's certainly a big draw and a big star. I'm not disputing that. But the unintended consequence here that really frustrated me was that the Dodgers now are taking advantage of yet another loophole that they are driving through, that they have an advantage over every other team.
Andy makes a great point. What's preventing a team from naming a player 2-way without ever playing them in the field? Call Jake Cronenworth a 2-way player. He pitched. He's pitched
but
before.
That doesn't act. I mean, what you also need is the innings. That's what
the innings.
Shohei. I don't know how many innings he's going to throw. 150 this season. 140, 150.
He doesn't know. They don't know.
But the advantage is getting that many innings out of a pitcher. You can name a guy a 2-way pitcher, but he's one of your pitchers. So, okay, the Padres have 14 pitchers, but one of them's Jake Cronenworth. You're not getting 30 starts out of Jake Cronenworth on the mound. It doesn't help you unless he's actually pitching.
Yeah.
And that's where the Dodgers now have that giant advantage. And not me saying it. I'm not the one saying it. It's Andrew Friedman.
He said we have a giant advantage.
Who was saying we have a giant advantage over everyone else, and it helped us land Roki Sasaki.
You see our advantage? It's giant. That's what he's saying.
Dodgers fans got mad at me because they said they put in that rule for the Angels. Sure. That wasn't a Dodgers rule, and they're absolutely right about that. They put in the rule before he got to the Dodgers. MLB wasn't handpicking the Dodgers for success, and I've never thought that MLB is like gaming the system to help the Dodgers. The system has simply evolved to the point where the Dodgers now have massively unfair advantages over everybody else. And I think baseball needs to step in and fix it.
How do you fix it?
Well, you could.
No, I mean, as far as like something as simple as the roster. Do you just allow everybody to carry another pitcher? What's the harm in that?
You could do that. I mean,
you know what I mean?
Well, would the Dodgers then get 15, or they just
no? They have their
well.
max.
Then you're just basically saying there's no more two-way players.
You got a problem.
No. Hey, Rob Manfred.
You got a problem.
I would say, like, if a pitcher throws more than 50, 60 innings, then they're not a two-way player anymore. They're a pitcher. Yeah, that also happens to hit.
It's a DH.
But if you're throwing that many innings, you should count as one of the team's pitchers. Ask Mike Schilt, ask Ruben Niebla how difficult it is to manage with that 13 pitcher rule. How much they'd love to have a 14th pitcher.
Oh.
And how much that would how much that would help them out over the course of the season. But they don't get it. Only the Dodgers get it. It's a huge advantage. And I'm not the one saying it. It's Andrew Friedman who is saying it right there on the Dodgers Territory podcast.
He's a smart dude, man. Smart dude. It again, I had heard from some people in the know around the game, things will be changing at some point. And so if you knew, it's like inside information, essentially, right? Like having inside information. If you knew, Ben, that X was going to happen in 2 years, we can exploit, we can make a ton of money, we can do this. Until that happens, isn't that smart business? That's what we all should be doing in life. Like we should all be trying to get ahead, reading the market, knowing what's coming, forecasting. Well, nobody's done it better than that.
The responses that annoyed me, and I wasn't going to, individually respond to every Dodgers fan, but hey, you could have signed Shohei Ohtani, and that could have been your advantage.
Right.
Shohei Ohtani offered his $700 million contract to anyone. Most teams would not be able to sign anyone to a $700 million contract. Most teams wouldn't be approved to defer that much money the way the Dodgers did. And they said, go ahead and get your own two-way player. All right, well, I'm sure they'd love it, but they're unicorns. They just don't exist except for one person on one specific team.
Yeah, and again, I mean, you have to have the player willing to do it. I know Shohei had offered it, I guess, to 4 or 5 different teams, and they're the ones that pulled the trigger. Very smart move, very savvy move on their part. But yeah, I mean, still got to play the games. That's why they play the games.
All right, we'll come back. We've got Don't Do This coming up in our 7 o'clock hour. Tiger out of the Genesis Invitational this week.
We spoke too soon.
Facing some weather problems as well. That is coming up next with Ben Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Went down to Torrey Pines yesterday, picking up some credentials for this week's tournament. Very odd to be back after just a couple of weeks ago, the Farmers Insurance Open, now the Genesis Invitational, coming to Torrey Pines this week. But the big news yesterday on Friday, right after our show, like 10 o'clock, news dropped that Tiger Woods had entered the field and would be returning to Torrey Pines for the first time since 2020. Yesterday, right after the show, 72 hours later, he reversed that decision and released a statement. And, you certainly feel for Tiger. He said that his
quote is,
okay.
I plan to tee it up this week, but I'm just not ready. I did my best to prepare knowing it's what my mom would have wanted, but I'm still processing her loss. Thanks to everyone who's reached out. I hope to be at Torrey later in the week and appreciate the continued kindness since my mom's passing.
Yeah, it was just 1 week ago that he lost his mom, and I think that is a more than legitimate reason to feel like you're not ready to go out there and play, especially at a tough course, and also taking on the responsibilities of tournament host at the same time. We may see Tiger at Torrey Pines at some point in his role as tournament host of the Genesis Invitational. I think if, being totally honest, he probably also looked at the weather forecast and how wet it's supposed to be at Torrey on Thursday and Friday, knowing how difficult it is to prepare his body for, 36 holes or 72 holes and going, I am probably biting off more than I can chew here.
Yeah.
With everything that's going on in my life, with my, my physical ailments that I have to deal with, this isn't a smart decision, Tiger. As much as he would like to play, he probably is making the right call to not play in the tournament. And quite frankly, the tournament, it doesn't need him. I mean, they have pretty much every major name that didn't go to live in golf. I think Xander's the only really big name that's not there. He continues to be dealing with that rib injury, unfortunately. But everybody else from, Scotty Scheffler to Rory McIlroy, they will all be playing this week at Torrey Pines. Practice rounds going on today and tomorrow. You got a Pro-Am tomorrow. And then the tournament is scheduled to begin on Thursday. But I will say that last night, watching the forecast, had Max Goldwasser was doing our forecast last night. Megan's in Cabo right now, apparently.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I wonder if Greg's there, too, probably.
I saw Greg yesterday.
He's
here.
I don't know. Did he not get to go?
He's a big Eagles. The guy works here. He's a big Eagles fan, so I think maybe he wanted to stay home, watch the game, maybe watch the kids.
So Max was doing the weather, and he goes, it's going to be... It's going to be serious rain. Inches and inches starting Wednesday. The heaviest looks like Thursday, which is the first round of the tournament. Now, and I was talking to some of the tournament organizers when I was there, and they go, they can forecast a lot of rain, but sometimes right on the coast, it doesn't hit.
Yeah.
It's not as bad. We may be able to get the golf in, fairly uninterrupted. We'll just have to wait and see. But clearly, it's something that's going to have to at least be monitored very closely this week at the Genesis Invitational.
Yeah, it's playing golf in the rain is one of the single worst things you can do. It's just the worst thing ever.
It's easier when you have a caddy who is keeping your clubs dry, and holding an umbrella over you. And
Paulie and I in Scottsdale, it was
of all places,
it was dumping and it was sideways, and we were like, should we play on? Why not? We'll never get to play this place again. We spent a fortune to play there, and actually pretty much had the time of our lives and actually played pretty well.
It drained pretty quickly, and they just said, you can
cart path only.
We're only playing this course today.
Yeah.
But if you guys want to go for it, go for it. We looked out there, we're like, there's not a soul out there.
Not one soul.
It was like a 3-hour round.
Both of us, first drives, down the middle. I'm like, what the hell? If it was perfect condition, I would have snap hooked this thing into the woods, dude. It was great. Yeah, we were making putts because the greens were all slow. It was really, really fun.
Yeah, and it's funny. PGA Tour players tend to play sometimes better when it's been raining because the greens get soft, which means that it turns into a dartboard. They can just
throw darts.
You don't have to worry about bouncing it up there. Just go right at the pin. But at Torrey, when it gets wet, it's also an incredibly long course, and the rough gets even thicker and gnarlier. So you miss the fairways, that becomes a very difficult course to score well. So all of those factors will go into it this week when the Genesis Invitational does come to Torrey Pines. And then I know you probably don't care too much about it, but I did notice that the TGL, the Indoor Golf League, has like 3 matches scheduled on Monday in Florida. which means if the tournament gets delayed, they're going to have some scheduling conflicts on Monday if there's like a Monday finish at Torrey Pines.
Wouldn't they just call in some guys that maybe weren't?
I don't know. I mean, all the teams have only 4 play. You have 3 out of the 4 play, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you'd be able to field all of it. ESPN can deal with it. It's a made-for-TV thing. Yeah. It's not as important as a signature PGA Tour event, but I'd imagine ESPN's going, well, we've got 6 hours of President's Day programming dedicated to TGL, and half the players are still going to be at Torrey Pines if it's been raining. That's just kind of something that I noticed that probably will be a headache for someone at least this weekend with all the rain forecast. And again, we need the rain. I know we need the rain.
Yeah, got to have the rain.
Such the double-edged sword.
Yeah.
We want the rain. We need the rain. When the rain comes, it's like, oh, I wish it would stop raining.
Yeah, of course.
Because we don't pay for rain here in
I want it to
California.
like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is perfect.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Well, I've always thought if you could just have the rain like overnight while we're sleeping.
Yes.
Monday, Tuesday, overnight, and then that's good. We get plenty of water.
Plenty of water.
Everything's good,
Yeah.
but then during the day, it's just perfectly sunny and gorgeous, like it should be.
No, I'm with it.
I wonder if I don't know if the rain's supposed to get over to Arizona, if that's going to impact the Padres' first workouts, this weekend, Thursday, Friday. Usually it's like a day or so behind San Diego. It sometimes heads over to Arizona as well.
What's the drop-dead date to report for players? The 17th? Is that right?
Pitchers and catchers is today, but for the full squad, it's Monday.
Monday?
I believe. And we were told that most pitchers and catchers are already there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if there's anyone else they're still waiting on. Sometimes guys who are coming in from out of the country need to wait on visas and other paperwork to get there. But according to everything, they should have a full house today, and then tomorrow, hopefully everybody there for their first workout.
Our man Dennis Lynn just dropped a piece a couple hours ago in The Athletic about it's just a camp preview, key dates, position battles, 3 questions to answer, Benny. Key position battles for the San Diego Padres, your primary catcher candidates. It's basically down to Elias Diaz, Luis Camposano, and Martin Maldonado. Again, I don't know how much Martin is going to get. I get the sense it's probably going to be Diaz catching the bulk of the games and Camposano being his backup, but they did add some depth there at catcher. Rotation candidates for 2 spots. You got the top 3 locked up. Matt Waldron, Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito, Brian Hoeing, and Stephen Collette are your, and for a 4 and a 5, there's a couple of interesting names to see how it shakes out. And then obviously left field is your other kind of hole out there that they have at least addressed with bodies.
How many bodies does Dennis have there? I count at least 5.
Jason Hayward, Connor Joe, Tirso Ornelas, Jonathan Perlaza, and Oscar Gonzalez.
5.
So 5. 5 guys for 1 spot, and then, guys on the bench. The other questions to answer by the end of camp: who gets traded or continues to be a trade candidate? It says, in recent weeks, people familiar with the Padres' thinking have indicated that President of Baseball Operations, A.J. Preller, may not need to cut as much payroll as initially expected. Yet it remains likely he's got a mandate to do some trimming. They have an estimated $205 million payroll. They're projected to be over the luxury tax threshold, and they need starting pitching.
When it comes to the bench, we're really only looking for like one more body, essentially, because you will have a backup catcher.
You'll have a backup catcher.
You have Tyler Wade, utility man.
Brandon Lockridge, an extra outfielder,
so it's going to be whoever wins the starting job in left field.
Plus
one more?
Plus one more outfielder, I would guess, because you got T. Wade that can play infield. You got the Arise, Crony.
Connor Joe can play first base as well, so he's a backup corner infielder as well.
Yep.
So I think you can be flexible in who that last roster spot goes to, and I imagine it's going to be a fairly open competition. Whoever has a really good spring, if it's Jonathan Perlaza, okay, well, give him a shot and give him a chance. Someone is going to have a crazy good spring, hitting 400 in the Now that doesn't always translate to the regular season, and you've got to be fairly quick to react once they get to the big leagues. Oh, now they're hitting 180. That's not the same guy that we saw in the spring. I think one of the interesting questions: what if Ethan Salas has a really good spring? He's got a major league roster invitation to camp. So does Leo Dallas DeVries, non-roster invitation. What if Ethan Salas looks like the best catcher? Is there any temptation?
Oh, I think there's temptation.
Even as an 18-year-old.
I think they're tempted.
If you said
to bring him to the big leagues.
If your question was what percentage do you give him of starting on opening day,
3.
it'd be pretty damn low.
The plan, I think, is to send him to Double-A again or high Single-A.
But I promise you, the temptation.
But the temptation is absolutely
if he looks good, because remember he had a good Arizona Fall League. Like he had 4 home runs, and that's against some guys who are like major league or on the cusp of major league caliber pitching. If he looks good, like he can hold his own offensively, we know defensively he's probably already of major league quality. Is there any scenario in which Ethan Salas breaks with the club as an 18-year-old?
I say no.
You don't think so?
No.
The plan is certainly
Any
not.
scenario? Yeah, of course.
I don't know.
Likely scenario?
I don't know. I mean, even if everyone else got hurt, I don't think they're going to push Ethan Salas if they don't think he's absolutely ready.
No.
But is there a chance that they could think he's absolutely ready based
those
on
are two
one
different
spring?
questions. Yeah, those are absolutely two different questions.
I mean, we saw it with Tatis back in 2018, was it?
But
or 19?
The thing is, back then is, I'm not saying. No, I am saying you don't need Ethan Salas right now. Okay, Ethan Salas. That's a move you make to, in my opinion, that's a move you make to say we got to get people at the ballpark. There's going to be people at the ballpark. There's no question. People will come, right? They're already coming. So. That's a move to say, oh no, like you got to come out and see our newest hot prospect. That can only do damage to Ethan Salas by starting him in the big leagues, I would imagine, at 18
But what if
years
he
old.
is your best catcher? What if he's your best option? It's not like Elias Diaz or Luis Camposano or Martin Maldonado or Brett Sullivan are necessarily going to any of them be any good this year. Yeah. What if he's your best catcher? Do you still put him in the minor leagues because
then we're in deep trouble?
Because you don't want to start his big league clock.
They don't really care about the clock.
They haven't. AJ's never cared about it too much.
And we'll ask them when we're out there. They're not going to give us a straight answer, but you got to ask. Hey, if he's hitting it, a torrid pace and throwing guys out and doing the thing, could he make the club as 18-year-old? I think it's absurd. I don't think it will happen. I mean, hey man, you didn't hit it Single-A and Double-A. You hit at the major league level, right? Every day. You're an everyday player. I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it needs to happen for an 18-year-old. I do think 18 is probably too young for a catcher. I do.
I think that's fair opinion.
Yeah.
I'm just asking the question. All right. We'll take a time out. We've got Don't Do This is coming up next. The Dallas Mavericks.
What are you guys doing?
It's already obviously a bad and awkward situation. Don't make it worse, guys.
Yeah, I think the cover-up sometimes is worse than the crime.
Exactly. First, though, Woods is going to tell us about Lone Pronto, aren't you?
I am going to tell you about Lone Pronto.
Yeah. Thought so.
That was one of the smoother radio transitions that I've actually ever been a part of. But if you have accrued some debt, let Lone Pronto help you get your way out of it. If you're a homeowner right now, you don't have to go through another year with all that high-interest debt. Wipe it all out now. Loan Pronto's rapid equity loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven technology gets you approved and funded in as little as a day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off their credit cards, 2 cars, and a personal loan, saving over $1,500 per month. Low fixed rates, lightning fast transfers. You can do it as well. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances by calling Loan Pronto at 619-207-4336 or go to loanpronto.com. Get your free rate quote now with no hard credit pull at 619-207-4336 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Don't do this. Brought to you by Trust and Will. Don't leave your entire estate, house, kids, and life savings up to chance if and when you die. Do set up a trust or will online at trustandwill.com. It's a lot more affordable than you think. Visit trustandwill.com for more info. I got a couple of basketball stories coming up, so we'll let Woods get started here first.
Well, this is also a basketball story, Ben, but I can't imagine taking something like this and using it out of context and giggling at it. I mean, are we not mature adults here? But do you know who Ryan Hollins is? Former NBA player. He's now a commentator. Was watching a game, calling a game. And it was during the Rockets' 94-87 win over the Raptors. And Toronto Hooper Grady Dick was shown lying on the court in pain, kind of clutching his face. And Ryan Hollins was explaining what happened to play-by-play guy Craig Ackerman. And this is how he put it.
Yeah, somebody got Dick in the face, Craig. See if he's okay.
What was it?
Yeah, somebody got Dick in the face, Craig. See if he's okay.
Yeah.
Probably should see if he's okay.
It's his last name.
Grady Dick.
Got him right in the face.
You guys might remember Grady Dick. He did
Kansas, went to University of Kansas.
Sure did.
The
jersey
most
swap.
infamous jersey swap of all time.
Swapped one with Anthony Black, and they stood side by side together. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life. And had to be done, and yeah, we're all little kids at the end of the day. I'll never lose it, by the way. I never want to not laugh at things like that.
Yeah, somebody got Dick in the face, Craig.
Got him.
See if he's okay.
See, because it's his last name, and they got him in the face, and he was laying there, and he was holding his face.
In the face.
In the face. So, yeah.
Now, that's his last name, so he can't do anything about it.
Not a damn thing he can do.
If your first name is Richard, you do have some choice in the matter.
You don't have to be called Dick.
You don't.
You don't.
Richie,
big big fajita, whatever you want. There's a million names you can be called.
I mean, there's so many even sports figures though. There was legendary pitching coach Dick Pole. There was NASCAR driver Dick Trickle.
Dick Trickle was a very big name, and always made me laugh.
Dick Mast.
You sure know a lot about dicks.
I know a lot of sports figures.
You do. You know a lot of dicks.
All right, let's go on to the
Dick Trickle, by the way.
Do a whole segment on funny, unfortunate names.
Rusty
Kuntz. That's up there.
Maybe number one. Maybe. Yeah, Richard Sporting Goods doesn't have the same.
Yeah, that's true.
It's dicks. My kids
laugh. Somebody got Dick in the face, Craig.
Right. My kids laugh every time I say, let's go to Dick's.
All right, the Dallas Mavericks are also...
Mav Richards is what it is.
Mav Richards.
The Mav Richards.
Now they knew
the Mavdicks.
They were at home yesterday, and no one's happy about the Luka Doncic trade, especially after Anthony Davis.
I'm amazed people showed up, dude.
First game,
I really am.
suffers an injury. I mean, you couldn't be in a bigger torture
Was he
chamber.
Out 3 weeks?
But weeks at least, maybe even the rest of the regular season. Who knows?
Crushing it, guys.
So you had to expect you were going to get some discontent. They had like 1,000 protesters outside of American Airlines Arena, or the American Airlines Center, before the game against the Kings. And then inside, they've been very careful to try not to show fans on the Jumbotron inside the arena because they don't want like an incident. But, they were doing one of their screen games, and a fan mouthed the words "Fire Nico."
Yeah, they were doing like a karaoke.
Yeah.
So they gave the guy the mic, and he was like, "No, I'll do it." And he's like about to sing, Margaritaville or whatever. Fire Nico.
And he got
escorted out.
He got escorted out. There was a fan with a Fire Nico sign that violates NBA policies. You're not allowed the code of conduct. You're not allowed to display signs that are derogatory toward a person, and I guess saying
is that derogatory?
saying to fire someone.
Nico's not derogatory.
They say it's derogatory toward a person, Mark Cuban, who's not even the owner anymore, but still sits there, got into a shouting match with some fans. There was another fan, they said, that got escorted out. They were simply wearing a clown shirt, they didn't even know who it was. It was just a clown face on the shirt. They threw that person out as well.
Not messing around, huh?
It's tough. I mean, you know your fans are going to be upset.
Yeah, you have to almost just kind of let them get it out.
I feel like you do have to at least be somewhat understanding that the only way they're going to get through this is to work through their feelings.
Are we sure that that's not Jelly Roll that got kicked out?
I saw that. It did. He looked a little jelly. I am not okay. The face is not tatted up.
You throw tats on this guy.
He's Jelly
it's
Roll.
Jelly
A
Roll.
little makeup, you can cover up those tattoos.
Did you see
concealer?
Our beloved Jackson Merrill
with Jelly Roll at the Waste Management, the WM Phoenix Open over the weekend?
This is Jackson Merrill.
Okay.
They were together.
Jelly Roll didn't know who he was, and he had to tell him, I play for the Padres.
Did Jackson know who Jelly Roll was?
Yes.
How do you know?
Because he went up to
Does he have a
introduce
pulse?
himself. Yeah, I mean,
Jackson's
Jelly Roll.
all baseball. It's possible.
No, Jelly Roll has been jammed down everyone in the country's throat. So of course he knew.
How'd
who
you
he
gain
was.
all the weight?
Jelly Roll.
Jammed down my throat.
Yeah, I got Jelly Rolls jammed down my throat, and so he's like, "Oh, well, Padres, huh? All right, I got to check you out." And he's like, "Go Padres!" And I was like, "We're cursed. I mean, we're gonna win 60 games now. We are toast." I must have gotten tagged in it, you guys, 75 times. Oh, did you see this? Did you see this? I'm like, I saw it.
There's nothing. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's nothing inherently wrong about Jelly Roll.
No.
You just think he's overexposed.
Correct. They're like, hey, coming up this week on Chicago Fire, Jelly Roll stops by. Here he is on America's Got Talent. It's
I was
Jelly
surprised
Roll.
to see him at the WM Phoenix Open. That did. He seemed like a little
Here's
much.
Jelly Roll hitting the ceremonial first shot.
He's a hustler. I mean, what's wrong about hustling and making a lot of appearances?
Oh, man.
He's just getting his
Is
brand
it the
out
name?
there.
If his name was Eric Adams, do I have as big of a problem with it? I don't think I do.
I don't think he's as popular.
I don't think he is either. I'll admit, when the first time I heard it, I went, wait, what's his name? He goes by what?
What is his actual name?
I don't know.
I'm sure it's not Jelly Roll.
Roll, jelly.
Jason Bradley DeFord.
Mr. Roll. Hello, Mr. Roll. I'm Jackson Merrill. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Mr. Roll.
Mr. Roll. Hey,
Jackson's very respectful.
he's very respectful.
Mr. Roll.
No, Tyler, not you, buddy. I mean, yeah, I got it from you, but I got it from 1,000 other people. And I died laughing every time I got it. Julius Roll. That's his given name. So, yeah, somebody goes, Woody, how mad are you going to be if Jackson walks up to Jelly Roll this year? I go, he can do what he wants. But holy smokes. He over under he throws out a first pitch this year because
I was just gonna ask
because
that.
he touched one of our players over under he throws out a first pitch.
He might throw out a first pitch at every game.
It could be.
Yeah,
Ladies and gentlemen, back again. Jelly Roll.
He either throws one at every game, every stadium,
Yeah.
or he's too big for that now.
Yeah, maybe.
You never know.
He's at the WM Phoenix Open.
just
He's
hate-
not too big for
I
anything
hate
yet.
how it's not embarrassing for Jackson, but he
Performs
was
at the Grammys too, though. It's not just the Waste Management Open.
it's not embarrassing for Jackson, but when you're like, hey, Mr. Roll, nice to meet you. And like, oh, well, who are you? Oh, I'm Jackson Merrill. I play center field for the San Diego Padres. He's like, oh, I'm going to have to look you up. Go Padres. As he's walking away, I'm like, oh, my God, dude. So, yeah, I saw it.
And, I mean, the reason why this is even extra painful for Dallas Mavs fans comes in doo-doo this.
DD mega doo-doo.
And that's because everything seems to be coming up roses on the other side of the trade, including nice thing yesterday. Before he even played his first game last night for the Los Angeles Lakers, Luka Doncic announced a $500,000 donation from his foundation toward immediate wildfire relief in Los Angeles. And specifically, and I thought this was cool, he said, really want to focus on rebuilding basketball courts, playgrounds, and playing fields for kids in the fire-damaged areas. He said, kids all need a place to go out and play, and those were some of the things that obviously were lost in so many neighborhoods in Los Angeles. And said, hey, I want that to be kind of a focus and part of where I'm donating my money.
It's great.
Brand new to the community, was huge in the Dallas community, already becoming big in L.A., and had a pretty nice debut last night. We will talk about that coming up. Also, speculation and who's next for the Super Bowl halftime show.
They've already announced it?
No.
Oh.
We're trying to take our guesses here.
Oh, well, I think we just talked about him, didn't we?
Do you really think so? Could be. That's Don't and Do This for a Tuesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, gang, it is Woodsy. We are talking golf and baseball, and those are a couple things I couldn't do for a while, and it was because of really banged-up wrists. Did not know what was going on, and was obviously a little bit nervous, was not really stoked about getting wrist surgery as a father of 2 young kids. Didn't have to. Called QC Kinetics. I was skeptical, absolutely skeptical. Went in, got a couple treatments, and said, oh, no, this is starting to feel much better. By the time I was done, I have not been back for my wrists in 2 years, and I've played, you guys know, bunch of baseball, bunch of golf, play with my kids every single day. It has changed my life dramatically. So if you're suffering from joint pain and, knees, hips, shoulder, back, I talked to a guy at camp that also had the same thing in his wrists. Listen, QC Kinetics, groundbreaking treatments for arthritis pain. Long-term relief is now possible. Don't wait. Make the call today. Talk to these local medical professionals. You will be so satisfied with the results. Their new orthobiologic cellular therapies, including PRP treatments, can revitalize your joints without going under the knife. I went in, man. I'll tell you, just be honest with you. The first treatment, I went, ooh, I don't know. That feels pretty weird. That's odd. By the second one, I was more comfortable. By the fifth, I was like, let's go. Give me my PRP treatment. I'll be on my way. That's just how it works, and it works so well for me. Call QC Kinetics in Torrey Hills and Hillcrest for your free consultation today. 619-614-PAIN, 619-614-PAIN, or QC Kinetics at 619-614-PAIN.
I think I have the answer as to who will be the next Super Bowl halftime performer. Just kind of checks a lot of the boxes in my mind, and it's not Jelly Roll.
It's unfortunate.
Well, let's give a little context here. It's been a lot of hip-hop artists over the last few years. I was looking at the list of artists over the years.
Lay it on me.
Well, so in 2019, that was the year that Maroon 5 headlined the Super Bowl halftime show. And it was like the league said it was a flop. It was not good. You know what happened right after that? Roger Goodell and Jay-Z got together,
so you
had a
fix
meeting,
this. Yeah.
and they hired Jay-Z
That's
and Rock Nation to kind of lead the presentation of the Super Bowl halftime show.
So Rock Nation isn't going to be booking Jelly Roll.
Probably not. I mean, okay, so that was, again, 2019. So since then, the Super Bowl halftime shows were Shakira and J-Lo in 2020.
That was hot.
Yeah. You had
The Weeknd in 2021.
Phenomenal.
You had Rihanna. You had Usher.
Dr. Dre and
Kendrick
Snoop.
Lamar. You had Dr. Dre, Snoop, Mary J. Blige, and Eminem.
That was great.
So it's been a lot of hip hop. I mean, Usher and Rihanna, the least hip hoppy, but still pop, club mix, kind of thing. So I think that does. I mean, he's 5 for 5 or whatever. In that sense.
Clearly, classic rock is out. Sorry to people like me and you. But
Sorry, Bachman Turner Overdrive. You just ain't seen nothing yet.
You know, we get
baby.
Being in the radio business, we see some of like the industry inside.
Just take those old records off the shelf.
Inside publications, and I was reading just this week that a lot of rock stations have transitioned to two different formats. Hip hop and country are the two hottest genres of music.
And they're
right
all
now.
blending
and
together.
they're blending together.
Well, there's nobody I know who you're going with.
Well, they try not to repeat too often the Super Bowl halftime performers. They tend to go with new people. However, it'll have been 13 years since this performer last took the stage for a Super Bowl halftime show as the headliner. And her genre has now transitioned over to country as well. I think Beyonce will come back next year. Kind of in a reinvented Beyonce. 2013, I looked it up.
Wow.
At Levi Stadium?
Yeah. 2013 was the last Beyonce halftime headliner.
She crushed it on Netflix over Christmas in Houston.
Yeah.
Had the halftime show there.
Yeah, she did.
Crushed it. It's in the Bay Area. But they're not necessarily...
If only she knew somebody at Rock Nation that could get her the gig.
I don't know. That's my guess.
Good guess.
Steve Davis says, so you're telling me Steppenwolf isn't available?
Now, they've gone away from the...
You don't know.
Seal could be coming back after his big Super Bowl commercial.
They're not doing so much of the, it's in this city, we have to get somebody from that region now.
It's in San Francisco.
Kendrick Lamar has no affiliation with Louisiana,
with
New
Orleans.
Metallica
is from the Bay Area. I don't know how. I just don't know if anyone.
Green Day and Metallica.
Green Day
and Company.
Metallica.
They're not going to go with Metallica.
No.
They're not going to do. You may never see a guitar on
Jacob
stage
says
again.
Post Malone.
Posty is that was my guess.
Yeah,
is that he'll
bring Morgan Wallen out for a song. I'll throw one out there that I haven't heard. I mean, he was part of a Super Bowl halftime show, but by no means the headliner. I think Bad Bunny's ready for a Super Bowl halftime show.
Ooh. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you.
I'm not either.
Incredibly popular, but
he puts on a show.
I feel like with obviously there was a certain segment of the audience that didn't love Kendrick Lamar.
Sure. They haven't loved the last 5.
No, that's true.
That's fair.
Or 25 probably.
I think going back to Beyonce, it's hard to criticize Beyonce.
It is. It's hard to. She'll do a good
I mean,
show.
if you want a fairly unifying force as a halftime artist that everyone kind of can get behind, it's a pretty safe choice.
Great suggestions in the chat.
I think it's crazy Taylor Swift hasn't done one. As
that
big of a
is
star as she is.
absolutely insane.
I think she's too close to it all right now.
Yes.
Travis Kelce retires. She'll host the next.
I think
Super Bowl
that's probably
show.
fair.
But they just got together last year, and she didn't do any before that.
Journey, they're a Bay Area band, but again, I think that I don't know that you'll ever see a guitar on stage again. I think maybe the days of guitar are over, at least for venues like this and events like that.
I mean, they could go full country.
Oh, yeah.
At a show one day.
Oh,
I doubt it'll be in the San Francisco Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a Houston one coming up or somewhere like that, a Dallas one that would make sense for like a full mega country, maybe several country stars all together.
We've got San Francisco, and then in 2027 on Valentine's Day, it's in LA.
Yeah.
On Valentine's Day, the Super Bowl?
February 14th, 2027 on ABC. You can watch that one on Channel 10.
And then in 2028, it's been announced back to Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Those are the next
They don't
3.
have any more announced after that.
You got to go hip-hop in Atlanta. Like one of the founding cornerstones of hip-hop.
Yeah, you got to make up for Maroon 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was in Atlanta.
That was in Atlanta? That's embarrassing. That was embarrassing. I was embarrassed.
Like Usher ended up doing one in Vegas, but he's from Atlanta. You had Outkast from Atlanta, Ludacris from Atlanta, and they go with Maroon 5.
Gaunt's Ghost says rock and roll will never die. I agree with you. But I think rock and roll will die at the Super Bowl. I would have Oasis play, but what do I know, right? And Idols, 2 of my favorite bands. So I just don't see it being the big crossover to the rest of the country. But hey, what do I know? But I've enjoyed them the last few years. I've changed my perspective on it. I had to get out of the mindset of, why isn't it Eddie Vedder up there? Why isn't it Soundgarden? Like,
I remember one of the last times Bruno Mars did. I don't listen to it.
I don't either. I thought he slayed it.
But I'm like, you know what? If they just gave him a 10-year contract, you're doing the Super Bowl halftime show for the next 10
fine
years.
with it.
I think he's wide appealing.
Yep.
Nobody's going to say no. I'm like,
he's talented.
Fine. Let's roll with that.
100%.
Hell of a performer.
100%.
Lady Gaga's great.
Adele a possibility? I don't think so.
Doubt it.
How about Oasis if their reunion goes well?
I would love it. They would never do it.
They wouldn't.
But I would absolutely love it. I'm counting down the days, by the way. Counting down the days till I get to go to see them.
I saw somebody suggested Metallica again,
Yeah.
and they said a Metallica Miley Cyrus
Ooh,
co-headliner.
that would
and I
slay.
go, that would actually be really
She's
good.
a better rock singer than she is a pop singer.
I agree.
Yeah, she's fantastic. They were actually talking about Brandi Carlile joining the band Soundgarden. And
Like full-time,
time.
touring?
And I was like, you know what? I have heard worse ideas. She crushes heavy metal music. But I just don't know that that's the venue for it. I think you got to kind of stay in the pop kind of rules the world right now. Dua Lipa would sign up for that today. I would sign up for the next 10 with Dua Lipa. I would have no problem. 0.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again,
Dua Lipa.
Dua Lipa.
I can't name you one song, but it doesn't matter. It's the hottest woman I've ever laid eyes on.
Caitlin would be good with Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, Miley would crush. Foo, well, I mean, you just never know. When do they usually announce this? About halfway through the year?
It's like early in the season.
Yeah,
like
sometime like October. Yeah,
early October.
That's usually when we find out.
Cool.
All right, we'll check traffic. Now, Luka Doncic made his debut with the Lakers last night, but did you see the drama that's continuing even post-trade deadline involving the other Lakers trade? Talk a little hoops after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Some problems on a couple of our westbound freeways. Got this one crash, West 8 past West Main Street. Couple cars involved there in the center divide. And now an accident on westbound 54 right at the northbound 5 connector ramp. That's being moved over the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danek with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So we told you yesterday about the rescinding of the Mark Williams trade between the Lakers and the Hornets. He failed his physical, so they had to send all the players back. Dalton Knecht, Cam Reddish, draft pick returning to the Lakers. Mark Williams returning to the Hornets. And the Hornets are really going out of their way to try to...
How awkward is that, by the way?
Very awkward.
Like, I was thinking about when that news came out, and, like, Dalton Knecht has to now get back on a plane, fly back to L.A., and they're like, hey, Dalton, no hard feelings, right, bud? Like,
I've heard Dalton Knecht's agents made like, this is not a good look, this is bad.
Man.
But on the other side, the Hornets... I don't know why. I felt this was like one of the funniest statements I have ever read. They're trying so hard here. This was their statement. We are excited to welcome Mark back to our Hornets organization after the other team aggressively pursued Mark. We made the difficult decision to move him. We have always held great respect for
100%.
Mark's talent, work ethic, and character. We are thrilled to see him rejoin our roster as a dynamic presence at the starting center position. His return strengthens our team.
Oh, my God.
And we look forward to the impact he will make on and off the court. You just traded him. You traded him. And now you're getting him back. But that doesn't stop there. So you released this statement to try to smooth things over after you traded the guy, like, unexpectedly. And then about an hour later, reports come out that the Hornets are looking to dispute the physical that the Lakers did on Mark Williams to try to unrescind
to make sure they get him out of town.
To try to get him back out of town again.
You want to talk about awkward walking in. What's up? Thanks for the kind words on social media. But
should I even unpack this bag? Like, what do you want?
Yeah, I mean, you just sit at your locker. Like, am I playing? Am I not playing? So it's done, right?
It's right. I mean, I have no idea what recourse the Hornets could have. The Lakers said he failed the physical. What are the Hornets going to go? No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Did the Lakers get some cold feet? I don't know.
Maybe.
It's possible they got some
Hornets
cold
like,
feet.
he didn't fail our physical. I'm like, you should probably get better doctors.
But
so nuts.
The couching of it all, the Lakers, the other team, they didn't even name the Lakers. The other team aggressively pursued Mark. Like, we wouldn't have even thought of trading him if the Lakers hadn't been so aggressive in pursuing him. But now you're finding out that they really want to, like, call into question the Lakers' doctors. Come on, he's not that hurt. You need to take him. We did this deal. You absolutely still need to take him because he's not as hurt as you're saying he is.
Yeah, there's a weird picture of Dalton Knecht on the bench last night, just kind of disengaged, I would say, is probably the right word. I mean, it was a blowout. They absolutely dominated. It was the Jazz last night, and he's just kind of sitting there in his hoodie like, I mean, it's weird. It's very strange. You think you're on your way out of town, and now you're back, and you don't really know how to feel.
So the last night's game, I watched it all the way through, being, interested to see what the dynamic would be with Luka and LeBron together. It was good. It's really good. And the lack of a big man without Mark Williams, which seemed like a concern, and it may still be. Defensively, there are definitely some issues the Lakers are going to have without a presence underneath. But looked like the happiest guy on the court. Wasn't Luka. Wasn't LeBron. It was Jackson Hayes, who was kind of the unsung, like, okay, well, he's the only big man the Lakers have. Guy was constantly just getting layup, alley-oop, dunk lobs from, hey, here's one from Luka, here's one from LeBron, here's one from Luka. All he had to do was stand there. Two guys would converge on LeBron, two would converge on Luka, and they just throw it up to him for another alley-oop lob dunk. He has now the easiest offensive job in basketball. Just wait by the basket until, obviously, you have to charge those two guys because you got two of the most, dangerous and efficient offensive players on the planet. And just wait to pick up your, 14 points every game on slam dunks.
How did Luka look? I didn't watch it. I was following along on my phone.
He was certainly not as sharp. His shot was a little off, but
is he like timid, a little timid? No.
I thought he got his touches. LeBron got his touches. I thought for the first game they They shared the ball pretty well. Austin Reeves still got his as well. It's a long basketball game. There's a lot of opportunities, and they want to keep all those guys fresh. Now,
Austin Reeves might capitalize more than anybody with Luka now because you got those two guys in the backcourt, LeBron and Luka, that you got to worry about. And then you have a guy that can just hit from anywhere beyond the arc.
I mean, him and Jackson Hayes.
So do you really need a big man? If you
I don't
have,
know.
if
Defensively,
you
you do. Offensively, they're fine.
Yeah.
Offensively, they're going to score a lot of points. They had 37 in the first quarter, 35 in the second quarter. I mean, 72. They scored, 140 or whatever it was last night. They are offensively going to be fine. Defensively, there's going to be some issues, especially when you get to playoff time and you're going up against
beasts,
Jokic and Shai Gilgeous, and there's some teams that they may not be able to contend with if you get to the postseason. But they're a fairly dynamic duo right off the bat, and it was entertaining to watch. The celebs were out. Speaking of Adele, she was at the game. Will Ferrell was there. Dirk Nowitzki, I thought, was pretty bold of him, being a Mavericks legend, to go, I'm still a Mav for life, but I got to be here for Luka for this first game right there courtside.
I thought that was cool, though.
I thought it was cool.
Support.
It was cool, but
unless you're Nico Harrison, and then you're probably thinking this is just
if you're
rubbing more salt into all of this.
Mavs front office probably didn't like it. I don't know how Mavericks fans felt about it because they're also reeling.
Well, they probably get it. They get it because Dirk didn't do anything wrong. Dirk went to support his buddy. That's it. His
No, he didn't do anything wrong.
No, you can't even be mad at Dirk. He went to support his protege, if you will, right? Like, to support his guy. And yeah, he's a Mavericks legend. He's got a statue, and I think he works in some capacity as like an ambassador for the team. I mean, I saw Mavs fans going through it last night on Twitter again. Like, watching this makes me sick to my stomach. What a good fit he is there. Like, it's driving them crazy. And Paulie made the connection this morning. He goes, imagine Toddy gets traded to Boston, and then Trevor Hoffman's like, I'm going to go watch my boy play, and he's at Fenway Park.
We would all be like,
I get it.
Come on, man.
It's kind of an FU to the organization of like, hey, man, like I'm going to support this kid no matter what. Yeah. You probably shouldn't have done this. But, it has not been the Dallas Mavericks' favorite week.
I think we're headed toward a really exciting last couple of months of the NBA and basketball. I mean, Jimmy Butler had 20 last night, Steph Curry 38, the Warriors won. The Wemby, De'Aaron Fox, they combined for 61 and a Spurs win. Jokic is getting hot. He had 40. The Nuggets have won 7 in a row. There's a lot of exciting and interesting basketball coming up here in the next couple of months. A lot of just really, really good teams.
I'm going to take your word for it.
I know. You're not there yet, but Lakers have won 10 of 11. They got a soft schedule. They got Utah again on Wednesday, All-Star break, and I think Charlotte right out of the All-Star break. So go ahead and face Mark Williams as you come out. So they could go on a pretty big winning streak here as well. They're moving up in the standings and looking like the vibes are pretty good for that team right now.
I can't imagine why they wouldn't be. A generational superstar. I mean, lands on your team.
They always say you need to evaluate a trade. You can't do it.
No, you can't.
You need to at least wait a few months, whatever, maybe a year or two.
You're good on this one.
Lakers have won the trade in a day.
Yeah,
one day, and they've unquestionably won this trade, which is nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Well, congratulations to you and Dave Roberts.
Thanks.
And Max Muncy and all the rest of the Dodgers fans out there. It's nice they got a superstar in LA to root for.
All right, we'll come back in our 8 o'clock hour. We're going to talk with Brock Ungricht. He is the head baseball coach at USD. His college baseball season gets underway in America's finest city. We've got Take on Woods and breaking baseball news. Got a fairly notable name in the bullpen that has picked a new team. And
on the move.
Jeff Passan piece dropping this morning as well. Some tidbits, including a mention of the Padres. We'll get to all of that coming up in the second half of Ben and Woods. Don't go away. We are San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, my friends, we are halfway home on a Tuesday. Ben and Woods, 97.3. The Fan, those first 2 hours absolutely flew by. Something tells me the next 2 won't, but you never know. You never know. Kind of use all your good stuff early. But we're going to try to spread the peanut butter evenly over the bread. Does that make sense? Not just one big glob in the middle. See what I'm getting at here?
I see what you're getting at.
You know?
I just feel like perhaps you're, I don't know. I just feel slightly offended by that comment.
Are you offended?
A little bit.
All right, let me introduce the show and we can get back to your offense. Paul Reindl is the executive producer of the program, imaging director of the station. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood, and I guess now offended neighborhood sports anchor. What are you offended by?
Well, I told you during the break, Paulie and I had a little something planned.
Oh, but
here.
you didn't tell me what it was.
Well, yeah, but it shows that you have no trust that content that we come up with can be entertaining. Now,
that's not where I was
Your
going.
content, the first half of the show, great.
That's not really where I was going.
I know, it wasn't really. That's why I'm not really offended.
All right, lay it on me.
You're probably going to be somewhat underwhelmed, actually. Now.
I really did not mean to set it up like that.
So you took off after the show yesterday, and I handled our daily promo, and we also got word from our boss, Adam Klug, that it's that time of year again when we have to refresh our other promos because
he loves a refresh bit.
Well, I've got good news for you. I did it without you.
Look at you.
I just went ahead and recorded some new promos for the upcoming baseball season. They'll start running here in a couple of weeks, so we can eliminate some of the older promos, the ones we did back in like late October, early November, to tell you, hey, this is the place to listen to, Padres talking the offseason, etc.
Paulie, play that one promo that Adam had you make. You said it October when we had some really, remember when we had some really fresh promos? We had a really good one that was Adam's idea, and we ran it a day early?
Yes.
Or 2.
I think they were only... I think they had...
The Padres have slayed the Dragon again.
Yes!
After knocking out the Dodgers, the Padres are moving on to the NLCS. Catch Game 1 of the NLCS this Sunday on San Diego's #1 sports station.
We did it.
97.3, The Fan.
I will never, ever forget the day where we slayed that dragon again.
This is more innocuous. This is more innocuous, I think, but Paulie and I felt like we ought to apologize to the Tier 1s. Because if you'll remember when we recorded, now you probably don't because this was 4 or 5 months ago, what we recorded to tease the offseason is kind of false advertising. Hey, it's Ben and Woods. Even when the Padres aren't in season, we're still talking baseball every weekday morning.
Free agency, trades, and all the hot stove talk until spring training. Join us from 6 to 10 a.m. on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Okay. Yeah, back then we expected...
You thought.
All the
free
moves.
agency... trades, all the hot stove drama that the Padres have been known for under A.J. Preller. We'd be talking about it daily for like months.
Ad nauseum.
All
right, give me here one more time.
Hey, it's Ben and Woods. Even when the Padres aren't in season, we're still talking baseball every weekday morning.
Okay. So he says, even when the Padres aren't in season, we're still talking baseball every morning. That gives us a little tiny bit of an out.
Even when the Padres aren't in season, we're still talking baseball every weekday morning.
Yeah. And then I come with the trades and the hot stove and the free agents. Free agency, trades, and all the hot stove talk until spring training. Join us from 6 to 10 a.m.
I think
on
we're
San
off the
Diego's #1. Because baseball, we didn't necessarily specify Padres. We've talked a lot of Dodgers this offseason.
That's
we
true.
have, because they've made a ton of moves.
That's true.
We've talked a lot of Mets.
There have been moves. They've just been incredibly concentrated. And this stat blew me away. This is Jeff Passan's piece this morning, ESPN Plus piece, that when you look at the offseason moves, the moves made by the Cardinals, Brewers, Marlins, Padres, Rockies, Twins, Mariners, Cubs, White Sox, Pirates, Phillies, Reds, Nationals, Rays, Braves, Guardians, Red Sox, Astros, Tigers, Royals, A's, and Angels combined don't even equal the one contract given to Juan Soto by the New York Mets.
Wow.
22 teams combined have not done as much as the Mets did in one contract.
It's bananas, man.
This offseason. And he goes on to say the top 8 teams, the Mets, Dodgers, Yankees, Diamondbacks, Giants, Blue Jays, Rangers, and Orioles, have all guaranteed over 9 figures in free agency and have accounted for more than 76% of the spending. Padres, of course, fall with the other 22 teams that acquire basically like 1% each of the other 22 teams in baseball.
So that it paints the picture that there is something, in fact, you can generalize it and say there's something wrong with the league. There's something wrong with MLB. But I do think it needs to be parsed out. There's something wrong with those teams that are left in that 22%, us being one of them. We know what our limitations are, allegedly. We knew going into the offseason. Well, actually, we didn't. I can't sit here and say with any honesty, Ben, I knew we would be dead quiet. I didn't. I thought I'm beyond surprised that some guys have not been traded in a classic AJ Preller, 3-for-1 fleecing and something like that. But I thought we would be a little bit more active, even with everything hanging up in the air. But take the Padres out of it. We've talked about that ad nauseum. The other teams that you mentioned in there, I really did think that they would make some moves. I did. I think there were some teams in there that should have spent a lot more money than they did this offseason that don't have lawsuits going on, that don't have ownership drama going on, that just have chosen not to spend.
Well, I mean, and you expect a lot of these teams in a list. The Rockies, the Pirates, the White Sox. You expect to see those, the Marlins. Yeah, you expect to see those teams in the list of not active teams. It's the teams that, well, like the Padres, that you didn't really expect to be there that are surprising. How about the Braves? How about the Phillies? Right. How about the Cardinals are in there. The Brewers are in there. The Tigers are in there. The Astros, the Red Sox. I mean, these are teams that are not necessarily considered, not active,
small
sitting
market
on your hand, small market type teams in baseball.
I mean, look, man, they're trying to be, most teams, and they'll couch it as, we're just trying to be smarter with our money. But I do think that there is an element with some of these teams that's, why are, I'm not going to go pay Alex Bregman X amount for 6 years just to placate my fan base. I don't think he's a fit. I think it's too much money, et cetera, et cetera. You mentioned one of those teams that you were not surprised they didn't spend any money. And I am surprised about one team in particular, and it's the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, I know who their owner is. I know what he's all about. I love Paul Skeens. Correct. He's the guy that would make me get off my ass and spend money. Period. I agree. 100%. With an expanded playoff, he's the guy that would make me get off and spend some money. That sounded weird. Jason Shetler tweeted over the weekend. This blew my mind. December of 2016, okay, 9 years ago, was the last time the Pirates signed a free agent to a multi-year deal, Ivan Nova. Let me repeat that again. December of 2016. How doesn't Major League Baseball look into this? For a team to go that long without a multi-year commitment is complete lunacy. Now, they had Brian Reynolds. They extended him. He didn't go anywhere. They didn't bring him in as a free agent. They have not gone out and signed Manny Machado, a Xander Bogaerts, any free agent to a multi-year deal since December of 2016.
Nothing but one-year contracts for 9 years.
1 year contracts for 9 years. Nothing multi-year. No free agents.
Good Lord.
Bananas.
Well, that's how some teams operate. I had the stat from the Rays. When they signed Ha-Sung Kim to $29 million, that was the biggest outlay for any free agent from outside the team since Greg Vaughn in 1999. A quarter of a century. And $29 million, let's be honest, is not big money nowadays in Major League Baseball. It's a fairly reasonable short 2-year deal.
And then, back to Skeens and the Pirates, you didn't spend any money this offseason. So why wouldn't you go and try to get Paul Skeens, who's 22 years old, to sign an extension? And they asked Paul and Bob Nutting at FanFest. Have you guys talked about an extension? Nope. Sure haven't. If not now, when, Bob? Like, what else did you need to see from Paul Skeens last year to go, if I can get this guy some security long-term and keep him here in Pittsburgh for even 4 more years, buy out a couple of ARB years, why wouldn't I? Now, if I'm Paul Skeens, do I take it? Knowing, again, my team has not signed a free agent since 2016. I don't know that I do. I think Paul Skeens may be playing out his time there. They've got a good core. They have a good core of players. If they had gone out and added some pieces,
probably not 1 year away, though. I mean,
when you have Jared Jones and Paul Skeens at the top of your rotation, you have Brian Hayes, you've got O'Neal Cruz, you've got good players. Like, you have guys that people want to go see. You add supplemental pieces around them, Ben. Make yourself a year away. Right? If you're not a year away, you can make yourself a year away by signing some free agents, right? And they haven't. They haven't. Paul Skeens, for me, would be the guy that changed my mind. Don't get me wrong. I love Paul Skeens. Right? If you're the owner, aren't you going, all right, we found the dude. Like, we found the guy we can completely build around. It's time. I
hear you. I don't disagree.
I've been rat effing this fan base for 2 decades. It's time to get off my ass and go out and spend some money.
That's how it works, though. They're going to wait 2 years, and then they're going to trade him, and then they're going to try to sell it on. Look at this great package of prospects we've got.
Now,
building for the future.
I can see if you wanted to wait until maybe next offseason.
Sure. Give me one more year.
Give me one more year, and then we load up in 2026 around Paul Skeens. I don't have any faith that they're going to do that. But
it's Satan's Blowfish said it. The Central is never more than a year off from division contention. Yeah. You're there. You're in the Central. Go out and build. Go out and do what the Cubs are doing. I
mean, there's only 2 teams that are even trying this year in the Central, the Cubs and the Reds, kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
And the Reds are still projected at around 82, 83 wins, so it's pretty much the Cubs division by default.
Right.
Because of, the fact that no one else is trying to compete. Meanwhile, the Padres are stuck in a division where
everyone's trying to compete.
Everyone except the Rockies are trying to compete and get to the playoffs. Much, much harder path.
Yep.
All right, we've got Take on Woods coming up next. If you'd like to be our contestant, qualify for a trip to Las Vegas, call in now, 833-288-0973. Our musical trivia game is coming up in just a couple of minutes. You can get online. Stay on hold, 833-288-0973. Woods, Trust and Will is a resource that, with the craziness of the world.
Why are you telling me? I was with you. I did it too.
I know you did.
I know it's a great resource.
I'm telling kind of everybody. I'm talking to you.
Said
but
Woods.
I know. I'm talking to you, but hopefully people are overhearing our conversation. Just the kind of the craziness of the world that goes on today, just the unexpected things that can happen. You want to be able to protect your family in case you're not there anymore to make those decisions. You can make the decisions in advance, though, by setting up a trust or a will, making sure you name a guardian for your children. This is one of the things you can do, just easy, online, in just about 20 minutes at trustandwill.com.
Yeah, creating a will ensures your wishes are followed, not the state's. Protect your legacy by taking control and make sure that you get that trust as well to keep your family out of probate court, the very long, lengthy, expensive process. So what Ben and I both did over the Christmas break is we sat down at our computers, logged into Trust and Will, went to trustandwill.com, and just started filling out and giving the answers that we wanted to give. Ben didn't take long at all, about 20 minutes. Get 10% off plus free shipping of your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com. All you have to do is when you check out, make sure you use the code San Diego. One word, San Diego.
Don't leave your family's future to chance or to the courts. Just go to trustandwill.com. That's trustandwill.com. Woods shared his unpopular opinion on social media yesterday.
I love those. It says, what is a baseball opinion that has you like this? And it's all of the mob rushing towards you, and you're there by yourself saying, yes, you are all wrong. It says, tell me your legitimate baseball opinion that makes you feel like this. Mine was a bit snarky. Mine said, it's okay to be excited for the upcoming season. That's how you feel some days.
And you're legitimately excited. You're not paid to be excited. You're excited.
Fire me today. Nothing changes.
I agree.
My personality will not change one iota. It never has. It never will. I don't care. I've always been this way. I will always be this way until the day I die. I am so happy that baseball's back. I am so very happy. It is. The air is cleaner. The food tastes better. Everything is better.
I got to take on what's coming up, but we didn't ever mention we teased the signing. Kenley Jansen has agreed with the Los Angeles Angels to join their bullpen, and I just saw Jesse Rogers tweeting that former Padres Scott Barlow is in agreement with the Cincinnati Reds in a one-year, $2.5 million contract.
I'll admit I forgot Scott Barlow was here. I'll be honest with you. I completely, until I saw that name.
Who did they get for Scott Barlow? Enyel de los Santos. That was not great.
That didn't work.
Saved a little money. Didn't work out so well.
No.
So a couple of relief pieces off the board.
$10 million for Kenley Jansen. Whew. The Angels do spend I saw somebody tweet this. The Angels spend their money.
They were in the non-spenders, but they have spent a little more than some
ways.
of the other non-spenders. Remember, they spent early in the offseason.
Yeah, they did.
Picked up
Soler.
Yeah, and the Japanese pitcher. Yusei
Kikuchi.
Yeah, early in the offseason.
Yep.
All right, I see we have a contestant on the line.
All right, here we go.
Time for Take on Woods. All right, Joe, you're up today. Good morning. Welcome to Take on Woods. How are you?
Good morning. Doing well.
Good. We've got, hopefully in store for you, a chance to win the grand prize getaway to Las Vegas and the tickets to Motley Crue. We'll have a Motley Crue story, I believe, coming up in the Reindl Report. If you didn't see that news, Vince Neil may have dodged a potential tragic incident, although there still was a tragic incident. But no, still have Motley Crue coming up to the Dolby Live Theater at Park MGM March 28th to April 19th for their new Las Vegas residency. Beat or tie Woods will put you into the drawing for a 2-night stay at the Park MGM. Tickets to the Motley Crue show. You can get your tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. Joe, here are your categories today. We still have All About You, 5 song titles that end with the phrase About You. Article Sound System, that is 5 song titles with the word sound, song titles and artists. And our new category, Straight Talk, 5 song titles that begin with the word straight. So, All About You, Article Sound System, or Straight Talk. Joe?
Both All About You.
All About You. All right, we've been sitting on this one for a week or so. Today on Take on Woods, we've got 5 song titles. They all end with the words About You. You have 60 seconds to try to identify as many of the 5 as you can. If you don't know one, pass. We'll come back to it. First question is the 2-second song. Paulie will play you some music. You need to give me that song title, ending in About You, and the artist to score the point. Joe, you ready to play?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. 60 seconds on the clock. Woods is in isolation. The category, All About You. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Joe. Let's take on Woods.
What I Like About You, The Romantic.
Correct. Which 1986 debut single by Belinda Carlisle shares the title with an old NBC sitcom starring Paul Reiser and Helen Hunt?
Mad About You.
Correct. Hey Jealousy and which other song were the 2 biggest hits from the 1993 debut album for the Gin Blossoms?
Found Out About You.
Correct. English band Level 42 had their biggest hit with which 1985 single?
Something About You.
Correct. Dan Hartman had a top 10 hit with which 1984 song he originally wrote for the movie Streets of Fire?
I Can Dream About You.
Yes!
Damn.
Well done, Joe. That is how you do it on Take on Woods. You are in for the drawing to Las Vegas. No need to wait. Get on hold. Paulie will get your information. Now it's just up to Woods to see if he can match that perfect score. and he has to do it without benefit of the category. Yeah, come on back in, Woods. You're taking on Joe today.
I thought I saw a wave, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, the wave is here. All right, 60 seconds back on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Joe.
What I Like About You by the Romantics?
Correct. Which 1986 debut single by Belinda Carlisle shares a title with an old NBC sitcom starring Paul Reiser and Helen Hunt?
Mad About You.
Correct. Hey Jealousy and which other song were the two biggest hits?
Found Out About You.
Correct. English band Level 42 had their biggest hit with which 1985 single?
Pass.
Dan Hartman had a top 10 hit with which 1984 song he originally wrote for the movie Streets of Fire?
Ooh. Read the other one, Level 42.
English band Level 42 had their biggest hit with which 1985 single?
I always get these guys confused.
Kind of need it.
Taint You. Your Taint.
Dan Hartman had a top 10 hit with which 1984 song? You're out.
Three.
And Joe had a perfect score, which means...
You son of a...
5-3. Joe takes it today and qualifies for the trip to Las Vegas. Well, we already knew he qualified. Just trying to see if you could match that. Something About You by Level 42.
There is something about that one. Baby.
Big Inside. Yeah.
Am I singing the right song?
Yeah, I think you are. And then I Can Dream About You.
I Can Dream About
That's Dan Hartman.
That's Dan Hartman?
Dan Hartman.
Sounds made up.
Doesn't sound like a rock star name, does it?
No.
Sounds like more of an accountant.
Yeah, Dan Hartman.
Dan Hartman.
Dan Stevens, your local reporter. Attaboy, Joe.
Nicely done, Joe.
Smoked my ass.
Well played today on Take on Woods.
Wow.
All right, we're going to come back. Got a guest on a Tuesday. College baseball season is getting underway.
I love Brock. Tier 1 Brock.
And we got Tier 1, Brock Ungricht, head coach of the USD Toreros. Got a fairly promising-looking team this year there at USD. We'll talk with Brock when we come back on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. epic game of Take on Woods. Congratulations again to Joe, who qualified with a perfect 5-for-5 score. But we got college baseball season coming up here. It is starting this weekend in America's finest city. We always have some good teams. And joining us right now, the head coach of the USD Toreros, Tier 1. We are a big fan of his program. Brock Ungricht is back with us here on 97.3 The Fan. Coach, it is baseball season again. I love that college gets underway about a month and a half before we have to wait for the Padres to get started.
What's up, Ben? I appreciate it, Woodsy. Good to hear your guys' voices. And the turn of the new year, it's like holidays are over and college baseball right back in the fire. So we're fired up. College baseball, Little League, T-ball, all of it, man. It's all, I know you've got a little guy too, and you've already, you have a head coaching job. I've been rooked into 2, T-ball and rookies. Coach, I need some help. I need some advice. Now I wanted to ask you, so the admin for me, the admin is killing me. Now you have a field that you get to practice on. I have to maneuver and weasel fields and all this. You're good there, but for we always talk about college basketball and recruiting. We talk about college football and recruiting and the admin that goes into it. For you, what's it like for a college baseball coach, the offseason, the recruiting, bringing guys back? They're kids. They're unsure. Maybe they want to be here. Maybe they want to be somewhere else. How has it been for you? Sure, it's a rat race. It's 365 days out of the year. What's funny, Woodsy, about that is, when you're in the community or you take your kids to school and it's like, oh, coach, great season. Season's over. Like you're on vacation. Yeah. No. Yeah, right. It's right on the recruiting trail and transfer portal. And, you're going to see your own guys in the collegiate summer leagues. And, but it all boils down to relationships, right? And it's all about, how you can connect with your players and constantly, right? You're spending a lot of time with that than you are really, on the field. So when they leave after a season, you're on the phone with them. You're flying to go see them if they're in the Cape Cod with the Northwoods League. And then you're also doing the same thing on the recruiting side, building relationships with the recruits as well too, because you're creating that environment that you have here at USD, in the recruiting process. So it's nonstop. If you want to win, right? It's every single day.
Brock, let me see. I'm always bad now. The time flies. What year is this for you? Third, fourth year is
your
head
fourth
coach?
year,
Fourth
right?
year as head coach?
Yep.
Fourth year.
Fourth year.
All right.
It's going fast.
Yeah, you made the mistake that a lot of coaches make. You've increased expectations.
Correct.
Because,
man.
Last year, WCC championship. Now I see all the prognosticators picking USD to win the WCC this year. But you do look like you've got maybe the team to back that up. Tell me a little bit about this year's squad. And in particular, you've got your own Shohei Ohtani-like player on the team, a two-way stud.
Well, yeah, it's funny, you guys mentioned that this is the first time in my 7 years here that and Coach Flora, too, our pitching coach, we've been here the same amount of time, that we've had 2 weekend starting pitchers return. And both of those guys were All-Americans a year ago. So when you have both of those guys back, you feel really good about your chances, going into a weekend series against whoever it is. And both of those guys, the tricky part is, both of those guys are Shohei Ohtani, right? They both play a position, so you got to get creative with, okay, when are they playing a position? When are they DHing? When are they starting? And it becomes a little bit of a Rubik's Cube. And it was kind of funny. Phil Nevin was out here a couple of weeks ago, and he's saying the same thing, and I didn't even realize it, but he's like, hey, Brock, I kind of had the same problem, too, when I was in Anaheim, with Shohei. We were laughing about it. I said, yeah, Phil, but he DH. These guys play center. They play left. We got to protect their arms. But with Austin Smith, he's a Golden Spikes Award finalist or preseason watch list, if you will, from Granite Hills. That guy is every bit of a competitor. He's 90, 94 on the mound. And then he also hits third in our lineup. Had 7-8 home runs last year, hit 320, 330. And he's the kind of guy, this is why you appreciate college baseball, in my opinion. He's the guy that'll get on the mound. He's got eye black on. His jersey's dirty. And he's out there throwing 90, 94 with a curveball and a changeup and just competing. and then he goes and does it in the batter's box too. Then the other guy, the other All-American is Logan Redeman. He's a sophomore, and he's just a freak talent. I mean, he's got four pitches for strikes, 95, 96, and he's just a freak athlete. He could really play shortstop, but to protect his arm, we're gonna run him out to center field, maybe a little second base, and just really kind of protect what his future is, and that's on the mound.
That's awesome, man. And if you guys haven't been out to Fowler Park, it's fantastic place to go watch a ball game. Brock was kind enough. We were texting over the weekend. We have a mutual friend, and we were texting about it. And he said, "You got to get Bo out here, meet the guys, and run around the field for sure." I wanted to ask you. I mean, you got kids now. You're a college baseball coach. Do your kids listen to you when you coach them?
So Ben and Ava were here yesterday. Monday's our off day, so we have practice here, family practice as we call it. And my wife's out here, Taylor too, and the baby's running around. He's one, but the other two, they're in there, and it's like they're confident. They're confident in their swings. They're confident in their practice, and it's still at 8 and 6. You know, like, hey, like focus, like let's go. Like I got it figured out, Dad. I got it. You know, and then sometimes I got to pull in the reliever. I got to pull my wife Taylor in and get her in there to kind of set them straight a little bit. But it's the same thing at 8 and 6. It is a good thing, I think, because they believe in themselves, and it's the same thing with our guys. You know, like you kind of want them that way a little bit to where it's like, hey, Dad, I got this, okay? Because, you know, they kind of take ownership and they have a little high opinion of themselves. So I try to look at it as a positive as before I get frustrated and lose my mind.
Yeah, Bo is asked to be traded already from our rookies team. He said, "Just trade me." He said, "I don't." I goes, "I don't want to play for you." I go, "Oh my God, I have dropped." Boy, he asked to be traded. I'm not kidding. And that's awesome, man. We got our first practice tonight. I'm fired up, and I know you guys are fired up.
Are you taking any pitches off the machine? Because that was epic. By the way.
Oh, when we were at fantasy camp.
Yeah, he had to pay off his bet for losing our football picks.
Yeah.
What was that, about 65?
Like 60.
60?
Yeah.
At 60.
At the most.
Do you still have a bruise?
No, it didn't even hurt. I know how to take a pitch.
He knows how to take
I try to get on base. I'm not a good hitter, so by
bunts,
any means
hit
necessary.
by pitch,
yes,
fastballs,
exactly.
and run to first on the strikeout. We're talking to Brock Ungricht. He's the head baseball coach at USD. Season opens this weekend, Friday to Monday, 4-game series against TCU, and I feel like you might have an issue here because our colleague, who has been broadcasting your games, you're going to have a spy in the booth. What are you going to do about Braden Soprenta, the TCU honk, calling USD games if he is this weekend?
Oh, he is. He's the voice of the Toreros. I've been hearing about it for 6 months. You know, hey Brock, you got TCU coming up. Hey Brock, no, he is Torero blue through and through.
All right,
and that guy's the best. So God love Braden, and he'll be calling our games all weekend. Thank God. Jeez.
And you guys get started with TCU.
Yeah.
What do they look like this
They're
year?
Always
They're usually pretty good.
Yeah, number 23 in the country. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know who makes our schedule.
It's not you?
Our coaching staff. Yeah, right, exactly. No. They're 23, you know, and then we go to Arizona the following week, and they're 18. And then, you know, Oregon State, I think they're in the top 10. But, hey, at the end of the day, you know, like when we do in the recruiting process, we tell our guys, if you're going to come here, we're going to play a tough schedule year in and year out. Like, that's just know that's what we're going to do. And it really prepares you for our conference, which is a tough conference. The WCC is tough every year. And if we want to go to where we want to go, you know, the regional and pass the regional and try to get as far as we can, we got to play these teams, and you got to be prepared to play them, and you can't be spooked by them. And you know, and I feel like we have the players and the talent to go and compete against anybody, you know, and if we can just control our details and our discipline of what we take care of here at USD, and then let the rest fall where it may. So that's just kind of our process, and we're going to play whoever we want to play, and let's go beat anybody, you know.
I love it.
Good luck this season. As you said, going to Arizona for your first road trip. You know, the Wildcats play at High Corbett Field, which was the spring training home from the movie Major League.
No kidding.
Of the Cleveland Indians back when Rick Vaughn and
my kind of team, Charlie. I love it.
All showed up at High Corbett Field.
Oh, that's killer. Well, good luck, Coach.
Toronto.
Yeah, I'll get actually both of them out there. Maybe we can join on family practice day. I'd love it, man. It'd be so much fun.
Mondays,
All right.
anytime.
I love it.
Anytime.
Awesome.
Let's go.
All right, let's get it.
Woodsy.
Good luck, Brock.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you guys.
Brock Ungricht, head coach of the USD Toreros, 4-game home series this weekend against the TCU Horned Frogs, Friday to Monday out at Fowler Park.
Yeah, how is he going to call those games? Braden,
he
loves TCU.
I think Brock's being a little charitable, thinking he's true blue Torero. I've heard a lot of TCU talk from Braden over the years.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Going to be tough for him
That's
this
his
weekend.
alma mater. That's who you root for.
Blood thicker than water, something like that.
Something like that.
Family. Who's your real family?
But USD pays you.
I think that's.
I think you got to
go.
You got to dance with who brought you.
Big carrot in USD's favor.
You got to dance with who brought you.
All right, we'll check traffic. We'll come back. We talk a little more baseball here.
Talk about a Passan piece.
Yeah, we'll talk about Jeff Passan's piece that dropped this morning here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Seeing some improvements on our roads. Northbound 5 does still have this crash right past E Street. It's in the clearing stage, though, and an accident has cleared up ahead before the Coronado Bridge. Stalled car partially blocking the E Street off-ramp southbound 5. And an accident involving a car and a motorcycle northbound 805 at the North 15 connector ramp appears to be over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Don't forget, we are about 15 minutes away from today's biggest fan announcement. If you want the chance to qualify for a night in the Odyssey Suite at a future Padres game, you and 19 other of your friends, just register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest-fan in order to potentially hear your name 9 a.m., 1 p.m., 5:30 p.m. every weekday. So, yeah, a few notes here from Jeff Passan on his ESPN Plus column this morning, including one mention of the Padres here. It came in note number 3 about who's the best free agent pitcher available. Woods says right-hander Nick Pivetta radiates talent. Teams' pitching models adore his stuff. Teams most in need of starting pitching: Guardians, Padres, Red Sox, where, of course, Pivetta has played the last 5 seasons. He calls it an obvious fit for the Padres and those other 2 teams. Here's what has been generally holding up a Nick Pivetta signing. It's that qualifying offer that he got in the offseason, which means if you sign Nick Pivetta, you have to give up your first-round draft pick.
I don't see the Padres doing that. Do you guys?
It seems unlikely given the focus right now.
Because you need an arm.
You do.
You need an arm. He's all right. He's a free agent.
Yeah. He's looking for a multi-year deal. He should get one. He's good enough considering with the kind of money that other pitchers have been getting. He should be getting a multi-year deal, but he hasn't yet. Now, do you want to give
Can you afford a multi-year deal for Nick Pivetta right now if you're the San Diego Padres?
I don't know.
Even if you traded Robert Suarez, I just don't know.
But can you afford a 1-year deal on a guy that's going to cost you
a first-round draft pick?
Yeah, and remember, I know draft picks are lottery tickets in baseball, but AJ almost always turns the first-round draft pick into something good.
Yeah, so if not to keep, then to trade.
Yeah, I consider giving up a first-round draft pick is legitimately, when it comes to AJ Preller, that's giving up something real and tangible.
Yes.
May not be that guy that you drafted.
Correct.
But he's part of a package that brought you an important starting pitcher or a bat somewhere at a trading deadline. That's a valuable thing for the San Diego Padres, and I just don't see it. I mean, even if he goes on a 1-year deal, then you're just renting a guy and giving up a draft pick at the same time. That's a lot. Now, there is one potential loophole. Seems unlikely, but Passan did bring it up. It says, worst case scenario, Pivetta could just wait until mid-July upon the conclusion of the MLB draft, and that's the draft pick penalty then expires. If the draft goes by and you haven't signed him, you don't have to give up a draft pick anymore. Can you imagine a player going, I want a multi-year deal. I'm just going to wait until July. And then there's no reason for a team not to sign me. They don't have to give up a draft pick.
I mean, I really can't imagine being a competitor and a pitcher and just saying, no, I'll wait. I can't fathom it.
But if it gets you more money, I know you're losing half a season, which will lower your value, but at the same time, a team that signs him for like 3.5 years, knowing I don't have to give up a draft pick, feel like maybe I'm getting a deal because of this half season off, it might be his best strategy, which is weird.
Potentially, but your arm's fresh.
Fresh for a stretch
as monkey's breath when you come out in July.
I mean,
joining a contender.
And then you've got a multi-year deal on the back end of that for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
That would be weird if you just waited around until July.
I get the sense, somebody needs an arm.
A lot of teams.
Everybody needs one, but like, is that first round comp pick worth not signing a guy? I don't know. I do get the sense here in San Diego. I may not feel that way, Ben, if I was running the team, and you may not feel that way. But I get the sense that A.J. Preller feels that way. And again, his ability to flip those players for other talent, works. But you do need somebody. And I think there would be a tremendous sigh of relief if you could land a guy like Nick Pivetta who slots in at like your 3 or 4.
If there's serious interest on the Padres side, then they just have to weigh, is it more important to have an arm for 2025 season or first-round draft pick who
we may flip,
could help the team,
could flip,
or we could flip him. Could help the team in 4 years, or we flip him.
Satan's Blowfish says AJ's turned those picks into way more value than even Nick Pivetta. I don't know that that's true because oftentimes has to combine multiple players to get value of a really good star.
Yep.
But he's brought back really good players like Luis Ariz and Dylan Cease by using
and you know what's funny?
That draft pick capital.
None of those guys, Ben, for all the emptying of the tank that he did, none of those guys were in the top 100. None. Not one of those guys made it into the top 100 prospects in baseball. None of the Mortarellas and the Graham Paulies and all the guys that everybody flipped out about trading, not here per se, but in other fan bases. Oh, you emptied the tank. Not one of those guys was in the top 100 to start the season. Drew Thorpe is hurt. So again, that's what A.J. Preller really is best at. Be nice if he could do some things like that, but he did empty a lot of the guys that he had, but none of those guys have done anything yet.
A couple other notes. The rest of the starting pitching market, he says Clayton Kershaw is returning to the Dodgers, a fait accompli. Andrew Haney is staying ready at his pitching lab in Oklahoma. Want a bulk starter. Jose Quintana and Kyle Gibson each threw around 170 innings last year. Want stuff. Spencer Turnbull and Jacob Junis each have well above average sliders. Want a veteran. Ross Stripling, Ryan Yarborough, and Chris Flexen are all there to be had. Want an injury comeback, sign John Mean. So there are still starting pitching options out there for the San Diego Padres. And then the last note from Passon on the Padres under the category, will there be a big spring trade? It says most eyes in the game are trained on the Cardinals and Padres, who with swashbuckling GM A.J. Preller are always open to discussing deals. They are acutely so this year with a budget crunch amid a legal battle for ownership between the brothers, yada, yada. But getting Pivetta, for example, could free up the Padres to move either Dylan Cease or Michael King, both right-handers set to hit free agency after this season. And he mentions the idea that the Padres have listened to offers for closer Robert Suarez, and that's about it. Nothing really new there that we didn't know.
We're going to get Rich Hill, aren't we?
He wasn't even mentioned.
He says he wants to
He does.
play again.
If we hadn't already gone down that road, I'd say, oh, definitely. But the fact that they went down that road and it didn't work out well, I don't see A.J. Preller trying that same trick again.
He's my 4 on the tier 1s, by the way.
Rich Hill?
Yep.
He's your 4.
He's
your
4.
4.
Yeah.
On your adult league baseball
Paul, you agree?
team.
3?
Maybe 3.
Yeah, maybe 3.
Crafty's got some movement still. He's probably still.
He might
At least you're
3.
2.
Probably my 3. Ruffy, Bendy, Rich Hill. Yeah, 100%.
Sorry, Joey.
Ooh. Yeah,
That was
sorry.
pretty nasty.
Joey's nasty. Kyle?
You know,
Maybe he's
Rich
my
Hill's a
5.
5.
He's my 5.
Matt
He's my
B
long
says,
relief
did I
guy.
just yada yada a lawsuit? We just know all the details. I don't need to rehash Jeff Passon's rehashing of it all.
Did Jeff Passon yada yada?
No, I yada
you
yada.
yada yada.
I did, just because we've gone through it many times. All right, final hour of Ben and Woods coming up. Our biggest fan announcement is next. Don't go away. It's 97.3 The Fan.
got to be.
That's how it's spelled.
Woods is looking at our biggest fan name announcement, which is coming up momentarily.
Adam.
I will say a little breaking football news, not unexpected, but certainly important. The Saints, the New Orleans Saints, have officially agreed to a deal with Kellen Moore to become their new head coach, fresh off leading the
What do they say?
Eagles to a Super Bowl title as offensive coordinator.
Strike while the iron is hot. It's never been hotter.
Well, give the Saints some credit because a lot of times teams feel panicked, like 100%. I've got to get my coach, and the guys who are in the Super Bowl are not available until the Super Bowl is over. So you got to be patient and got to be knowing other teams are getting a couple of weeks head start on me, but this is the guy I want, so I'm willing to wait it out. And you know what? If the coin had been reversed and the Eagles had just gotten like bodied and couldn't score against the Chiefs, you wouldn't be feeling quite as excited about your selection. But now
you got
with the way the Eagles played in that Super Bowl, you're feeling really good about being patient and waiting out Kellen Moore for your head coaching position.
Has Vic Fangio ever been a head coach?
He is not, I don't believe.
Interesting. Did he even coach the Broncos or something?
Yeah, he might have actually.
Was he the head coach of the Broncos?
I think he was the head coach of the Broncos. Okay. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's one of those things like Kellen Moore, and this is what the NFL...
3 seasons, 2019 to 2021. Other than that, just a string of coordinator positions going back decades.
Man, yeah, I heard Nick Sirianni tell Kellen Moore, yo, let's run this back, right? So I think...
He didn't mean it, though. I think it was... I mean, he meant it, he'd like it, but
it was a joke.
He was
with
never going to stand in his way.
Truth.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Like, yo, let's run this back. Should he?
I was just going to ask.
Should Kellen Moore run it back?
This conversation pops up every year because
you have to take the gig.
The coordinators of the winning teams are always... Their names are always thrown out there as candidates, and this was rumored before the Super Bowl even happened that he was going to be signing as the head coach of the Saints.
Who was the other guy? They interviewed a couple other guys that maybe they thought were going to get the job. A couple of retreads. I can't remember exactly.
Mike McCarthy took
McCarthy.
His name out of the running.
That's right.
Was there at least one of them? I don't know.
Is it really? I mean, I guess it's up to him. If his goal is to just be a head coach, then you got to take it when it's presented.
You can always go back.
Maybe
all the good ones go back.
But is Jags it better to be the Panthers job? But the Saints, it's a pretty decent organization.
Is it better to be the head coach of let's say a losing team or a bottom third team,
middle team,
or the offensive coordinator of the Super Bowl champions?
I think good city, good fan base. You could do a lot worse than New Orleans. No, you have some work to do. Obviously, they wouldn't be looking for a head coach if they didn't have some work to do. But that's always the case with almost every job you take. Unless you're inheriting the job from a retiring legend, which comes with its own
bit of
set of challenges. Yeah, you're probably got work to do.
Like, we always bring it back to baseball, make it easier on ourselves for comparison's sake. I have no idea if Ruben Niebla wants to be a manager ever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he's happy. He's the pitching guru.
Yeah, he's a guru.
Maybe he's happy being the pitching guru for the San Diego Padres. Is it better to be the pitching coach of an exciting team with a solid core that makes the playoffs at least every other year?
Or the White Sox manager.
Or the manager of the White Sox? I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
I think if Ruben ever got an opportunity to be a manager, he should take it. Whatever team. You gotta shh.
Shut your mouth.
How would you ever know, though, if you didn't take the shot? You can always go back to being a pitching coach or a coordinator.
Look at Vic Fangio.
Absolutely. It's always there as a fallback position. But how would you ever know unless you take a shot?
Yeah.
All right, it is time to announce our biggest fan name. Woods is very excited about this one. If your name is called, you'll have 10 minutes to call us back at 833-288-0973 and qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game later this season. You can register your name again at 973thefan, sd.com/biggest fan. And Paulie says this is legit. Today's biggest fan is Julie Big Boy from Alpine.
Sure, it's not Big B.
It says Julie Big Boy, Bigboy. Really hope her husband is Robert.
Bob's Big Boy.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. Julie Big Boy, you're up. 10 minutes to call us back.
You've been thinking of that since you saw the name, didn't you?
He is. Did you like that restaurant?
It still exists.
There's one in L.A.
It's not bad.
Wasn't it called? Well, where I'm from, they had it too, but it was called. I swear to God, I swear it was called Kip's Big Boy.
I don't know why. I was just looking at the history
Of Big Boy? We
Of
look
Bob's-
at different
Bob's
we look at
Big
different
Boy.
stuff on the internet, you and I do.
It was a casual dining chain founded
if
by
Woods typed in Big Boy on
Bob
his website.
Bob Wyan in Southern California. It was originally named Bob's Pantry, and then they franchised it. Came up with the character with the the pompadour hair.
Yeah,
that wave of hair.
Well, why were you looking at this?
I don't remember exactly why. I was fascinated by Bob's Big Boy.
We had Kip's Big Boy in Dallas on the corner of
Probably
Northwest
just a
Highway.
knockoff.
Maybe.
Well, look who's calling in.
There
Should
it
take
is.
this call?
Put her on the phone. Julie?
Julie, you're on the air with Ben and Woods. Good morning.
Yes. Hello. Hello. Yes, that is my real name.
Okay. All right. Now listen.
And you want to know what's funny is I heard Wood say, this has to be a misspelling,
Yes.
and I knew you were talking about
Knew
me.
you.
So I
Well-
put the number up on my phone. I just waited for you to say my name.
She was
I
ready
knew
to
it was
go.
me.
Yeah, Adam will make, I don't know if you know this, if you follow us on social media, but he misspells probably 3 words a tweet, every tweet. So I was like, it's Bigby. It's Julie Bigby, and he wrote Big Boy. But your last name is Big Boy. I will say, I've never heard that last name before. Probably no relation to the Big Boy
It's
restaurant.
Native American.
Native American.
No, it's Native
okay.
American.
Yeah, Big Boy.
Native
I like
American.
it. I love it. Well, congratulations.
Great.
You've called back in
Thank
time.
you.
And I hope you win the suite. I really do. You're a lovely person.
Thank you very much. I sure hope I win too.
All right.
Julie, stay on the line. I'll talk to you in a second.
All right, Paulie will
Thank
get
you.
the rest of your information. Look, called right back. She was waiting with 833-288-097. All she had to do was hit 3.
That's it.
Once we officially said, who else could it be? After Woods with that tease.
So did you ever figure out why you were Googling the
No.
history of Big Boy restaurants? They were pretty good. It was like a diner.
It was decent. I've been to at least one of them in LA. I remember going with the kids,
Of
when
course.
they were younger. It's like classic diner.
Yeah, it's diner
style restaurants.
I love a diner.
And with decent burgers. The burgers are decent at Bob's Big Boy.
Yeah, very good. All right, thank you, Julie. Well, there you go. You got your winner.
All right, college basketball tonight, Woods. Aztecs are back in action. San Jose State. They did something that they have never done under Brian Dutcher, ever. They did not return home after their game on Saturday.
Stayed, watched the Super Bowl.
They traveled from Colorado State to San Jose State, and then they watched the Super Bowl at a restaurant with the team on Sunday. Practiced yesterday at the San Jose, the event center where they play.
Was the practice just free throws? The entire
would be nice.
The entire practice, just
And-
make free throws.
And then they'll have the game today, and this is remember Dutch is the guy who brought his team home from Las Vegas earlier this season.
Yeah.
When they had another game in Las Vegas 2 days later. He's a big believer in coming home, sleeping in your
Saw
own
him at
bed.
the airport that day.
Yeah, it was like, what? Aren't you in the middle of
It's
a
like,
tournament
wait,
in Vegas? Yeah,
Yeah.
coming home. And coming home, we'll go back. There's no reason to sit here for 2 days if we don't have to. But this time he decided, let's keep him on the road and not return back to San Diego. Part of it was a travel thing. They left Sunday morning. By the time they would have gotten back, it would have been so late. Thought it would be fun to have the team together, a little team building, chemistry, bonding. Shake it up. And
I like
maybe
it.
that's what they need is a little bit of a shake up because, honestly, it's been a rough last few weeks for the San Diego State Aztecs.
Inconsistent.
Even the wins have been
They're very dicey.
generally dicey. A couple of losses that have pushed them really, I think, probably on the wrong side of the bubble. We'll see the new bracketologies coming out this week, but they were one of the last teams in before they lost to Colorado State. Not that it's a devastating loss, but you got to figure a couple of teams passed them, which would mean they'd be on the wrong side of the bubble. So, looking at the rest of the regular season, probably need to go like 7-1.
Yeah. With
The rest of the regular season.
2 monster games.
New Mexico and Utah State.
Yep.
New Mexico home, Utah State on the road. They may be underdogs in both of those games, but it's the rest of them that you can't really feel that confident about.
Yeah.
Even tonight at San Jose State, a team they've historically owned, but they were trailing by 21 2 weeks ago,
Dude.
trailing by 21 to that team before having to mount a furious comeback to win that game. You do that on the road, there's no furious comeback from 21 down on the road.
No, I agree. It's line 6.5, so they are favored to win. But yeah, I mean that line traditionally, Paulie, sitting at what, 15? 14.5?
yeah.
16.5? I mean, so
somewhere in
it's
there.
Vegas is catching on a little bit, going, all right, these guys gotta got to get their game together, man. And again, it's details, right, Benny? It's just details.
Even if it was 15 and a half.
Yeah.
If you're putting money on it, I don't know how you don't take San Jose State.
No, as tough as they played. Yeah, exactly. So clean up the details. Got to get these guys on track. Can't do anything about what's happened. You just got to move forward and win these games convincingly.
Yes, you're
more talented.
They should have won at Colorado State had they made their free throws.
Yep.
But they could also use, Miles Bird to play like he was earlier in the season.
No question.
It won't come down to free
That's what
throws.
makes the team so hard to gauge. Is they'll go on a 5-6 minute drought of no points at all, not just made baskets, like no free throws, just nothing for 4, 5, 6 minutes at a time. And you look at the score and you're like, oh, we're only down 4 still.
Right.
Like they're still in every game. They just can't put it together consistently for 40 minutes.
And it's funny because in many ways, it feels like this team has more shooters. I mean, Miles Bird can make those NBA threes. Jared Coleman-Jones hit a couple in the last game. Nick Boyd can get hot and hit a few. We saw B.J. Davis made 3 threes in the last game. They have more shooters than they've ever had before, but they still have these long periods where they all get cold at the same time. It's just like it's a wave that washes over the team. Like, okay, it's now our 7 minutes where we're just not going to score any points.
Also, you play from behind the entire first half of the game, almost every single game. Without fail, you are a notoriously slow starting team, and I don't know what you do to get your team hot out of the gates. I really don't. I don't know what the magic coaching word is. This is, hey, we can't be down by 12 after 3 minutes every single game. You shoot, you get good looks, and sometimes they don't drop, but boy, they don't drop a lot for the Aztecs early, and I don't know what it is, but look for that tonight, man.
Hopefully, it was a Super Bowl watch party, on the road in San Jose
that brought them all together,
gets them off to a better start in the game tonight. And it's a late start again. Says 8:00.
More like 8:15.
That when I see it, it's usually more like 8:10, 8:15, based on television. There's a lot of good college basketball tonight. You got plenty of ranked teams: Tennessee and Kentucky. You got Purdue and Michigan, top 20 teams, Florida and Mississippi State. So you've got a good slate of college basketball games going on tonight if you're looking for something to watch and carry you through to tomorrow when spring training is underway.
Can't
we'll
wait,
have Sammy Levitt on his way to Arizona.
He just stopped at Cafe Odessa.
Is he already in Alpine?
He's already in Alpine, so he's on his way. Maybe you could pick me up some flavored zins.
I wonder what the first... Well, let's talk about when we come back. What's the first questions for Mike Schilt here in spring training?
I love it.
What are they going to be?
What's up, my dudes? How you doing?
Good. Schilty, how are you?
We will get to that coming up. First, I want to tell you about SDFatLoss.com. And I've been telling you about SDFatLoss.com for about a year and a half now. How about other success stories, though? You've heard mine, 40 pounds in 60 days. It is absolutely real. Manny, I got to talk to him. He came in studio a few months ago, lost 50 pounds in the first 60 days, and then kept on and lost another 43 pounds, 93 pounds on the SDFatLoss.com program. John, I talked to, lost 40 pounds. Chris, who's a patient we heard from, 50 pounds, 10 inches on his waist. These are real Tier 1 success stories out there that have shared with me how SDFatLoss.com changed their life. It's changed mine as well. I feel so much better. I mean, dropping the weight, it's good for you, but, my back pain is down. My knee pain is gone. I can Peloton almost every day now, just so much more energy than I used to have, thanks to the program. And it was 60 days, and you can do anything for 60 days. And this isn't hard. It's eating real foods, steak, chicken, vegetables, stuff you're going to eat anyway. Just eat it at the right times and the right portions. They'll tell you how. Just call them up or go online at SDFatLoss.com for your free consultation. Take advantage this week. Valentine's Day special is still underway. Get $200 off and get started. No injections or hormones. You don't have to put anything weird into your body. Just food. Just real food. And start losing weight up to a pound of fat per day. 10 to 20% of your body weight in 60 days with SDFatLoss.com. That's SDFatLoss.com. Couple of nuggets of San Diego FC news
I
this
like
morning.
nuggets, Ben.
One, Paulie had to kind of explain a little bit to us, but they've added another celebrity name to the ownership group that, of course, already includes Manny Machado as one of the minority owners of the team. Issa Rae, does everyone know
Issa.
who? Issa Rae is an actress and author, has an HBO show. What's her HBO show called?
Insecure.
Insecure. All right, and she's
wild. Like I had to kind of double take when I saw that come through the inbox that they made that announcement. I go, not Issa, like that Issa Rae. Like
Yeah,
she's
no,
a
it's
huge star.
That's cool.
Definitely more of the Gen Z, younger.
What's Paulie?
set.
Paulie's not Gen Z, is he?
No, I'm a millennial.
He's a millennial.
Yeah. What's after millennial?
Is that Gen
Gen
Z
Y?
is next? What's Alpha? Alpha, I think,
Alpha.
is the one that just started.
That's
like
Bo.
if you're born now. No, I think if you're born now, you're Gen Alpha.
I don't know.
Gen Alpha is now.
Yeah.
Gen Z was 97 to 2012 born.
Okay, I think that's her because she's pretty young.
Oh, is she that young? 81 to 96 are millennials.
Yeah.
And then Gen X that's you guys.
Yeah,
That's
buddy.
65 to 80. And then the
65
boomers.
to 80. What's
1965 to 19.
What's Bo? 2018.
He's an alpha.
That means there are now 60-year-old Gen Xers out there. 60.
Best generation by far.
Really?
Yeah. Not even close.
Issa Rae was born in 85. Yeah, she's not.
Oh, she's older.
She's,
okay.
Yeah.
She's
what
a
the hell
Gen.
are you talking about?
Just turned 40.
She's 14
She's
years
a
old.
millennial.
She's bought into the SDFC.
Fair enough. All right. I thought she was younger. She looked younger. I saw the picture.
Yeah.
Good for her. And then they also announced some new games that are going to be coming to Snapdragon Stadium this summer. It's called the Leagues Cup, Woods.
A lot of cups and tournaments.
Yeah, in soccer,
it's going to be a
you've got
lot
your,
for me to keep up with.
You've got your regular season, but then you have your outside competitions. This is one that MLS does with Liga MX, the Mexican Professional League. So 3 games added to the schedule, July 29th, August 1st, and August 5th, against a trio of Liga MX teams who will all be coming to Snapdragon Stadium as part of it's like 18 teams from Liga MX, 18 MLS teams, and they have like a month-long tournament inside the season. It's like the NBA
and it's
Cup.
all here.
All the games for San Diego SDFC are going to be here.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And then if you win, you advance to the quarterfinals, and I think there's probably some travel involved, but they just announced the Leagues Cup schedule for San Diego FC as well.
Grace just said in the chat she played the president in the Barbie movie.
Oh, yeah.
I still haven't seen it. I keep forgetting to watch it. I must have scrolled last night. I'm not joking, you guys. From 8:15 to 10 o'clock on my phone looking for something to watch. I started 6 different shows. Nothing kept my attention. I am in the chamber. I don't know if it's me. It's probably me. It's my ADD. I tried Severance again. I watch it in 7-minute clips. The first episode of Severance, which everyone is like, "Oh my God, it's the best show." I go 7 minutes at a time, and I start to doze off. I don't know what's the matter with me. It's a me thing, isn't it? I feel like I'm just such a generational hater of everything that I can't let myself go and like just sit down and watch a show.
I mean, you've worked in an office environment, so I mean, you should feel some connection there. I've never worked in a real like office type environment,
which is why you don't like The Office.
Well, yeah, it's a different dynamic that I'm not used to.
There's so, like Adam just says, there's so many shows on. Bro, you're right. It's not a lack of shows. Oh, have you tried Landman? Yes, I tried it. It's so
Billy Bob
overwrought.
Thornton?
Yeah, it's so overwrought. Taylor Sheridan's, it's just Yellowstone, which I kind of like. I just hate everything, and it's really starting to bother me. I can't just enjoy a show. Like the last show that grabbed me and ran was Baby Reindeer, which is completely disturbing. Like I can't. An hour and a half, I scrolled looking for a show to watch.
How about the new Matlock with Kathy Bates? No?
I didn't like the original Matlock.
How does this matter? It's got Kathy Bates.
Who was the original?
Andy
Not James
Griffith.
Garner. Andy Griffith.
Been on a documentary kick lately.
See,
kinda bouncing around.
So I'll try to watch one of those, and I'm like, OJ got me. OJ was really, really good. But yeah, that I need money now to get this man some baseball. Then I'm set. I just need to get through like a few more days. I think first games are on the 21st or something.
Yeah,
so I got a few more
week.
days.
I'm
in hell.
I thought it was wild that yesterday I kind of like begrudgingly admitted about something that I watched. We did this off the air. There's a movie that's ridiculously popular, won a lot of awards, I believe, that came out in I think 2014. Just watched it for the first time this weekend finally.
Well,
Interstellar.
And old fun boy over
It's
here.
funny, I rewatched Interstellar right as Paulie was watching it for the first time.
I love
that
first time on
movie.
Saturday. I'd seen like bits and pieces.
You guys are on the same cycle. That's very strange.
Yeah, finally watch
you guys did not communicate
not
about this.
once. And I told you guys off the air. I was like, "Oh yeah, I finally watched the movie. It was unbelievable." And Ben goes, he just looked at me kind of with his jaw dropped, and he goes, "I rewatched it on Saturday as well."
I did watch a movie over the weekend, and never seen Interstellar either.
It's phenomenal,
guys.
I
something
think
wrong
it's
with
one of
me.
the best movies of the 21st century.
Yeah.
But
Really?
I don't know that you'd like it. That's the thing. I just
Because
don't.
I hate everything, and I hate that about myself.
It's sci-fi,
It's
and
nearly 3 hours runtime.
yeah, it's long.
I broke it up into
a lot of things.
three sittings.
Red flags for Woods.
Yeah.
But
And
I
that
liked
was-
Oppenheimer. I loved Oppenheimer. I mean, it took me a month to finish it, but I absolutely loved it. Yeah, there's some good stuff coming. White Lotus is coming back, which is one of my favorites. Righteous Gemstones is coming out with a new season. But the Severance thing is really bugging me.
But
It
that's
bugs
also
me.
science fiction-y as
What
well.
is?
Severance.
Yeah. Maybe
And
that's it.
I don't know what it is about you and science fiction that you can't suspend. Like, you love documentaries, which is the exact opposite. These are things that actually have really happened, as realistic as possible.
And Mafia. If it's not Italian, I pretty much don't like it. So I spent my night scrolling and watching Raging.
Oh, there he is.
Hey, oh.
I mean, you didn't like any of the Star Wars.
No. When I was
movies?
7, I did.
Did you?
Yeah. When I was a kid, I loved it.
You did.
Yeah.
But now nothing.
Nothing.
Marvel movies don't do it for you.
No. For me.
I watched, as I do every night, on Instagram. This is my recommendation to all of you out there. Go watch The Raging Italian. That's all it's called, The Raging Italian. And it's a dad. He's got a couple of kids that just break his balls the whole time, and he just screams at them. And it's the funniest thing.
There's some cursing involved.
You don't go, there's not more than 3 seconds without him dropping an F-bomb at his kids. It's it's actually endearing. Like, it's very sweet. You can tell how much he loves his children and how much his children love him. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. I just lay in bed and I watch.
That's your Instagram feed? All right, here's mine. Chef reactions.
Chef
Have you ever seen it?
reactions. No.
Guy is like a professional chef, and he just takes other people's like food videos where they're making like weird recipes and just offers like dry, biting sarcasm and commentary, usually about how bad their recipes are. And
So he's a hater,
how
too.
gross they are. He's an all-time hater.
All-time hater.
Occasionally he'll like a recipe. He'll go, all right, I'll actually try that one. But most of the time, it's like, what are you doing with these ingredients? This is disgusting.
So the problem with that, too, if I'm laying in bed at 8:30 at night and I'm scrolling through and I'm watching food videos, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to get my ass out of bed. I'm going to go eat. That's what I'm going to do. So it's just, I hate this about myself, but yeah. You know, the one thing I have been having a lot of fun with is Underdog, and I had some fun with it last night, Benny. I got so close on a couple, but that's the life of playing daily fantasy. Basketball season's going on right now. Your favorite stars score buckets. They're alley-ooping you to an opportunity to win money from watching sports with Underdog, one of the leading sports apps you can now play in your state. And if you want to win up to 1,000 times your money, you can with Underdog. To play, just choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats, like points, assists, rebounds, or more. I had a cool one last night on Underdog. They listed a bunch of players, and you could scroll through and see if they would go higher or lower than 20 points. And like I had Luka in there, I had Austin Reeves in there, I had Paolo Banchero in there as well. Really, really cool. They offer all kinds of little promos as well where you can save 35%. It's rad. Underdog is fun. I'm getting a lot of DMs from people that are signing up right now. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Their app has over 100,000 five-star reviews and millions of players. So a lot of fun. Download the Underdog app. Sign in now using the promo code WOODS. Unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. Join in on the fun when you sign up with promo code WOODS. Claim your special offer today. Get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly upon first deposit. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona and Massachusetts, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
The Slam Dunk in Vegas National Contest is your chance at the ultimate trip to Las Vegas. All you have to do is download the Odyssey app, log in, and listen to 97.3 The Fan for at least 1 hour to earn a daily entry into our national contest. The grand prize, travel and accommodations for a winner and 3 guests, so 4 people, to Circa Resort and Casino, Las Vegas's premium sports viewing destination. You'll watch the biggest March Hoops party at Stadium Swim, and each person gets $5,000, so $20,000 total. And again, all you have to do is listen to the app for an hour.
That's it.
Pretty easy.
Yeah.
Pretty easy. We're just over a month away, I believe, from the beginning of the college basketball tournament that takes place in March.
The big tournament.
The big old
you can't say that
68-team tournament. Well, technically, as soon as I'm done reading our national contest liner, we can use all the expressions and legalese again. But while I'm still talking about the contest, I can't actually refer to the specific. It's just some general college basketball tournament. Picture a big 68-team tournament at the end of the season that crowns a winner at the end.
Okay. I have it in my mind.
They narrow it down each weekend, like 16.
And they have like the last
8.
4.
Yes, the
last 4. The remaining 4.
The remaining.
It's pretty
the
crazy.
big 4.
There's a lot of craziness that happens.
Yes. Some might say it's almost mad.
Yeah.
Maddening, perhaps.
Can be.
All right. But now I'm done. So we can mention, March Madness is
March Madness.
next month. Yeah, it's March Madness.
Let's get ready.
All right,
No.
Well, you could never say that, ever.
You just got fined whatever the total fine is. You just got fined 50% of
50%?
it. Yeah.
My last day on the air, I'm going to drop that and walk out. And just double bird on the way out. Just see you
Adam
later.
will be like, I wish you would have rather said the F word.
You could have. I would have rather you said the C word before you said that. Yeah. It's a great parting gift.
It's weird because we can say three-peat, but we can't sell shirts with it on there.
Well, you can't even say that.
No, you can't even say that.
He has listeners all over the country.
Crazy.
It's like an algorithm picking it from, somebody's in Wichita. Mimed it. It's great.
American Sign Language.
Yeah, 100%. All right, what do we got?
We got the Reindl Report right after traffic
Let's
here.
get ready for traffic.
7-3
God, that made me nervous.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Well, here's something you don't see every day. How about a stalled tow truck in the HOV lane, northbound side of the 805, just before Sweetwater. Also, looks like a spin out on northbound 15 before Adams Avenue. This vehicle is facing the wrong way in the fast lane. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report.
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
On 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right. Happy Tuesday, gentlemen. Let's see. Bit of a slow sports day. The day after the Super Bowl. Always tough in the world of sports. But
I've had fun today.
We've had a great time today.
Yeah.
It's more just tough for me to find, because we're all over the place on days like this.
Oh, big time.
What haven't we talked about? We mentioned a couple weeks ago when it happened, the 2025 inductees to the Baseball Hall of Fame. And yesterday, the Hall of Fame officially announced, and this is important to some people, I think, not really to me, but the cap selections for the members going into the Hall of Fame. So Dick Allen going to wear a Phillies hat.
Hey, makes sense.
Dave Parker going to wear a Pirates hat.
Yeah, wouldn't see
Cobra.
it any other way.
CC Sabathia. Was there any debate?
He had Indians,
Yankees,
Brewers. God, he had damn fine careers with all of them.
I'm almost certain he's
Yankees.
probably Yankees, but I probably would have gone Cleveland. That's who I think a little bit more of him with Cleveland, actually.
Yeah.
Ben says Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yankees.
Yankees.
Yeah.
Ichiro played for several different teams, but does anybody not think
Mariners.
he's a Mariner?
Yeah, Mariners.
Who else did he play for?
Played for the Yankees.
Yankees, the Marlins.
Marlins.
Oh, Marlins.
Played
Yeah.
for the
Right.
Giants.
The end? Marlins.
Maybe a
obviously.
workout. I don't know. And then Billy Wagner is going in Astros.
Was he a Met?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
but Astros.
He's Astro.
That's the baseball news. And quite frankly, that's the sports news for today.
If I ever go in, I'm Padre.
Padre. Yeah, that's good. I had a different fandom at time, but I'd go into Padre right now.
Yeah.
So this was wild.
Can I wear my Notre Dame hat in?
That would be weird.
Yeah, it would be.
I mean, they have a baseball team, I'm assuming.
They do. Yeah. Craig Counsell played there.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go. So
AJ Pollock.
We teased this story earlier in the show. Pretty gnarly scene yesterday in Scottsdale, the Scottsdale Municipal Airport.
Oh my God! Did we tease this earlier in the show? I think it was before the show.
No,
right?
you were
out of the room, but yeah.
So Woodsy actually texted us yesterday, and he goes, "What'd you say?"
I said I think we might have killed Vince Neil from Motley Crue.
And what do we mean by that? Because we've talked about this before on radio shows.
It's all
we're confessing to a crime,
right?
You almost you were accused of killing somebody.
Of Gary Coleman.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know what happened on a Friday, but we started talking about Gary Coleman, and I just started saying some stuff about Gary Coleman.
Doesn't typically come up in conversation.
Correct. And by the time I was driving to L.A. for a concert, by the time I got to L.A., he was dead. Signed off the air at 10, got up to L.A. about 1. In that 3-hour time period, he died. Hadn't talked about him in 10 years, maybe 20 years. And spoke about him Friday, and he was dead that afternoon.
You've heard the expression "spoke it into existence."
Spoke it into existence.
You spoke it out of existence.
Yeah, I did not wish him to die or anything, but we were poking some fun at Gary Coleman or something.
Well, so last week, and we've been giving away Motley Crue qualifiers.
Yeah, it was
for
Friday.
Take on Woods, and last Friday we were talking about Motley Crue. Oh, do they still have it this day and age?
Yeah, are they still bringing it live?
Of course, we played some old Vince Neil. Well, not old Vince Neil.
This is new Vince Neil. Keep it going.
Got a what?
I got the cops coming after me. Oh, Dr. Feelgood. Yeah. That's real. That is real audio of Vince Neil a couple years ago.
We played that on Friday. We haven't talked about Vince Neil a ton before that. And
right.
Woods texted us last night, and he goes, "Oh my God, are we responsible for this?" And
again,
what are you talking about? So a private plane owned by Vince Neil was involved in a crash yesterday at Scottsdale Municipal Airport. I don't know how big that is, but it's not the main downtown Phoenix International Airport. And it crashed into Vince Vaughn's.
Vince Neil hit Vince Vaughn's
private jet.
Wow.
And
Vince McMahon looked on.
Vince Carter.
Vince Carter.
We don't know. We didn't know at the time. Was Vince Neil on the plane?
Yeah, I thought.
We knew that there was 4 or 5 injured and 1 fatality, or what the hell happened? So Vince Neil was not on the plane.
Oh, he hit it hard.
He hit it really hard.
Somebody died in that.
Somebody did die, unfortunately. Vince Neil was not on the plane. His girlfriend was on the plane, and she was injured, but she survived.
Yeah.
And I watched this a few times in a row. Good Lord, that thing is coming in there hot.
Yeah, coming in hot. Is the plane just right in the way, or landed on the wrong runway, or something? Nobody really knows. But there's been a
landed on the taxiway. That's happened before.
There's
some sort of a failure with the landing gear.
There's a rash of these lately. I'm going to be taking a lot of trips. I'm a little nervous. I'm already a little nervous, but more nervous now. Unsaturated Fat said, "Whose plane is bigger?" Vince Vaughn's was bigger.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Brett Michaels posted that it was a pilot that was killed.
Oh, it was the
I don't know that
pilot.
was confirmed or not just yet. But yeah,
that sucks,
sad
dude.
story.
Sucks. Well, I mean, I was relieved when I don't know the pilot obviously, but I grew up with Vince Neil. Certainly, I've had an experience with him at a gentleman's club once, sitting around the whole afternoon.
Really?
Oh yeah, you never told you the story?
I don't.
I never told you my Vince Neil story?
I don't think so.
Oh, my God. One of the most epic stories of all time. So I worked at a radio station in Dallas,
For your Larry Bird story.
Oh, yeah. Can't tell that on the air. But the Vince Neil story is epic. So he comes into the radio station that I worked at. I was in sales, 97.1 The Eagle in Dallas. And he's playing a show with his solo band.
What was the format?
Rock.
Hard station.
Yeah, butt rock mostly. But Vince Neil coming in, doing an interview. He's got a show in town. I think his band was called the Vince Neil Experience or something. It was not great. But he did some Crue songs and he had some solo stuff. So he comes in. I'm a huge Motley Crue fan my whole life. I have his book, their book, The Dirt. And I bring it in, and I'm so stoked to meet him. And he signs the book for me. And interview wraps up, and we're just kind of hanging out in the hallway. And he goes, hey, what's the best strip club around? And I said, it's this place called The Lodge. He goes, you want to roll with? And I go, yeah, more than anything. And so
you want to roll
with? He goes,
a real rock star.
Yeah, dude, this is probably 11:30 in the morning. And he said, you want to roll with? And I go, yeah, more than anything. And so he goes, all right, let's go. And, I gave him his guy the directions and everything. And he goes, all right, we'll meet you there. So I called my brother. He called a buddy, got another buddy. We went down. We sat at a table. This dude was ordering. I'm not kidding you. He had a show that night. When I say he was ordering pitchers of kamikazes. Pitchers. Multiple pitchers. We sat at
Those are high-proof cocktails.
We sat at that table. We drank glasses and vats of kamikazes all afternoon. Then he goes, all right, I got to get like a nap before the show. I'm like, you pass out before the show, I get it. He goes, I got backstage for you guys tonight. Come on down to the little tiny arena they were playing at. Come on down. You'll all be all on the list. We went down, Skid Row, Motley Crue, backstage passes, side of the stage, watching Vince Neil sing that.
How does this always happen to you?
No, it was so great. So great. It was one of the best days of my life. Sitting there talking about Motley Crue and what it was like, and you still talk to Tommy, you still talk to Nikki. Just, pour me another one. Sure. And just pounding booze and hanging out. It's the best. One of the best days of my life. So in my copy of The Dirt that I have at home, I have my backstage pass stuck inside.
That's cool.
It was so sick. I'll bring it. You guys can see it. It's sick.
I'm just trying to imagine the equivalent. Like if we were at spring training later this month and, Manny goes, hey, we're going out tonight. You guys want to roll with us?
I died.
Never happened.
Ben, I died. I mean, I called my brother. I was like, get your ass down to the lodge. Like, it was crazy. It was so much fun. So I thought that was cool. I was a huge fan, and he was like, all right, yeah, you want to roll with and hang out? Yeah. More than anything. It was cool.
Hey there, Delilah.
Yeah. Very fancy. Can't believe I never told you that.
No. Oh, that's a brand new Wood story right there.
I love it.
It was a fun one. This guy from
Did he pick up the tab at the
Oh yeah.
at the club too?
I did not spend a dime.
Crazy.
But the other thing is, so I go into I'm in backstage and I'm in Skid Row's dressing room, and they have a guitar player named Dave Sabo. Dave the Snake Sabo. And he goes, "You want a cocktail?" I go, "Sure." And he hands me a Coke can that had been opened, that he literally poured 80% of the Coke out, filled it with Jack Daniels in the can. It was hot.
Oh.
He was like, "Here." I was like,
Coke.
I was like, it was incredible. It was the most rock and roll night of my life.
Oh,
there you go.
All right. And then finally, did not know this was even on the horizon, but did you guys know that pennies are no longer a thing now?
I saw
this story last night, yeah.
Okay, so President Donald Trump has directed the Treasury Department to stop minting new pennies. And I know this has come up in the past. Like, a lot of people are like, who's really using coins a whole lot in their day-to-day? Who's really using cash?
Referees use coins.
Yeah.
They flip a coin.
Right. True.
Not a penny.
Rarely a penny, though.
If ever.
It's usually a commemorative coin of some sort.
I mean, so much is done electronically now, cashless payments and everything. What are we still doing with coins? And apparently, we have gotten rid of new pennies from now on. We're no longer minting pennies. They cost more than a penny to make.
It costs 2 pennies, I think.
Like a little over 2 cents to make 1 penny. It says it's wasteful. Let's rip the waste out of the budget, even if it's a penny at a time.
I'm down for it.
I'm fine with pennies. That. This will not surprise you. Now, at this point, we're pretty much mostly cashless. I still carry some, but don't get to use it. But until the last few years, I usually like to pay cash for things. Like if I'm going out and getting a sandwich, I'll just pay cash for it. But I hated having change in my pocket at the end. So I always bring change. So if hey, my sandwich is $11.37, I would bring the 37 cents.
Oh, you're a nightmare.
So I wouldn't have to have the extra 63 cents in my pocket for giving $12. If I knew what it was going to be, or if I was in my car, in a drive-thru, I'd have a little change drawer.
Yeah,
I would pull out the pennies to get it to the exact amount.
Try to give this $100 bill away for weeks. Try to spend it. Can't.
You're going to have to go to the bank and
just deposit
it at some point.
Yeah. I'll use my debit card. I have $103 in my wallet. What are you carrying? Cash check. Jesus, God.
Still from fantasy camp, my trip to the card room.
So three big ones in there,
Yeah.
Paulie.
Yeah, I got about 200.
Look at you guys. For a show, not doing too shabby. You know, it's $600 between us.
I have a 50, which I don't see those.
You don't
very
see those
often.
very
There's
often.
nothing that I can do with it.
Yeah, not a damn thing you can do with it. Deposit it in your ATM
So I go
so
to
you
a
can
7
use
Mile
it.
Casino or something.
That's right.
It's nothing I can do with it.
Caitlin says she has $3 cash. That's usually me. I have 103.
But
It's all going to the fourth caller, Tyler says. No, it is definitely not.
I always felt a little embarrassed. You pull in, get at the window to get your burrito, and it's all right, what is it? It's $12.67, and all right, here's 2 quarters,
Versus 15,
a dime, a nickel, 2 pennies.
$15.28. Now you're getting 4 ones and a bunch of change.
Well, and if it was like that, I give 15 and I give the extra, and then I get the ones back, and usually then I would be able to tip with. I don't want to tip anybody change. You know how people throw the change in that's left over?
I do that.
I don't like to do that. I
and
want to do.
cash.
I want to do full dollars or $2. Not.
You can do both.
I don't want to give the change at all. I feel like that's an insult.
No.
To leave change for someone.
You can do both.
If it's all you leave, that's an insult. But if you're tipping $5 and your change was, you had 74 cents in change or whatever along with your
I just feel
order,
like then they have
put
to
that in
deal
there.
with it too. If we do it during the transaction, then you can just leave bills.
I get behind the lady with the bag of change all the time. And not only...
I try to be quick about it.
So does she. Not only she's gonna pay with her change, like her quarters and her dimes and stuff. Paul, you've seen it. Yeah, it's true. Everywhere I go, got behind the guy at Jersey Mike's the other day.
I don't think it's too extreme to say that in 2025, if you're paying an entire bill in coins, you should be locked up.
Yeah, at least a weekend in jail.
Yeah.
If you drop a penny,
leave.
Do you even no?
If
do you even pick it up? Do you even pick it up? Like if you dropped it on the ground,
no.
Is it worth 1 cent?
No,
to
it's
it's
good
not
luck for somebody else.
It's not even worth 1 cent to reach down and pick it up.
Yeah. Agree. So I won't miss them.
I won't. You know what?
I didn't
get rid of nickels too. Honestly, if we're gonna go
and
that
dimes.
far,
Let's just keep.
You know what?
I
Let's
like
just
quarters.
get to quarters.
Yeah, keep quarters.
What costs less than 25 cents nowadays?
Yeah, can't even get a newspaper.
What can you get for less than 25 cents?
What can you get for 25 cents?
We can get for 25 cents. But you can
I
get
don't
for
know.
3 quarters. You can get a soda. No, it's like 5.
I mean, when you go to the Mexican restaurant and they have those little sun-kissed fruit gems,
True.
But you still just give them 3 for 25 cents.
True.
It's fine. It's fine. We don't need change below a quarter at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, that's it. Change talk is done.
Bring back Susan B. Anthony.
We now change hosts. Annie and Elston coming up next. We'll be back tomorrow for Sammy Levitt's first day at spring training, Padres' first workout. We finally made it through the offseason. For Paulie Reindl, Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday from all of us here at 97.3 The Fan.